Hey guys, this is Chaos Shinobi. This is what if Naruto is the reincarnation of Red-Haired Shanks. Naruto will be very powerful and have a very unique power not seen in the Naruto world. If you like the story, let me know if you want part 2. Now let's begin Chapter 1. Daylight cast its rays on the redhead in bed. Turning over, Naruto grumbled, not quite wanting to get up yet. The sun gave no push room and shined, according to Naruto, brighter. The boy sighed, turning it into a yawn as he stretched and set his feet on the floor. He headed to the bathroom and then turned on the shower. Once done with his shower, he clothed himself, then moved to the kitchen, putting the kettle on to boil. He reached up to open the cupboard. "Ramen for breakfast again," he stated. It wasn't that he didn't enjoy the tasty noodle dish. It was just that he knew it wasn't healthy to eat it more than normal, let alone for breakfast. He opened his fridge to see it almost bare aside from the expired milk. Grabbing the carton, he placed it into the trash. He searched high and low through the kitchen looking for something to drink. "I guess I will go eat some breakfast at Shika's place." Naruto. The boy made his way to his friend Shikamaru's house. Flashback. "Hey Dad, can I ask you about something that's been bugging me?" Shikamaru. "What is it?" Shikaku. "It's about Naruto. Why does everyone avoid him like the plague?" Shikamaru. Yoshino's face tensed up when she heard Naruto's name. "Did he do something wrong?" Shikamaru. "Shikamaru, why don't you tell me how you feel about Naruto?" Shikaku. "You want to know how I feel? I never thought about it before. Well, he's a pretty laid-back guy. He's also pretty funny. I don't think we'll ever be buddies or anything, but it's not like I want to avoid him." Shikamaru. "Well then ignore the others. I say treat him however you want to." Shikaku. "Yeah, that's exactly what I will do." Shikamaru. Few days later, Shikamaru and Choji befriended Naruto. On his way there, Naruto was met with nasty glares. Naruto didn't care, he simply smiled at the villagers. When Naruto got to the Nara clan compound, he was greeted by some clan members. With Shikamaru. He was yawning. Yoshino was busy yelling at him. "From the second I get up, it is nag nag nag," Shikamaru thought. They heard the doorbell ring. "That must be Naruto," Yoshino said before going to open the door. Naruto had become a regular guest. Yoshino had noticed that the boy was suffering from malnutrition and told the boy he was welcome to come eat at the house anytime. She opened the door. "Good morning, Aunt Yoshino." Naruto. "Good morning, Naruto." Yoshino. After he was welcomed in, Naruto made his way due to the dining room. When Naruto got there, he greeted Shikamaru and Shikaku, who was at the dining table. Yoshino came and told Naruto and Shikamaru to finish their breakfast so they could get going to the academy. After finishing his food, Naruto immediately yawned and proceeded to take a nap. Shikamaru followed suit. Shikaku chuckled as he saw his wife was furious. Yoshino hit both Naruto and Shikamaru on the head, waking them both up. The two got scared as they saw the scary look on Yoshino's face. "Well then I will be off. Thanks for the food, it was delicious." Naruto. "Let's go." Shikamaru. When the two were gone. "Is Naruto secretly a Nara or something?" Yoshino. Shikaku chuckled. "Who knows?" Shikaku. "He's nothing like his parents," Yoshino thought. On the way to the academy, the boys met up with Choji and Ino. At the academy, Naruto and Shikamaru dozed off as soon as the class started. "Naruto!" Arika yelled. Naruto was rudely awakened from his fantasy land. "What's up, Irika-sensei?" Naruto. "Naruto, you inattentive little brat. Tell me, why was Senju Hashirama the most feared ninja during his era?" Irika. Naruto scratched his head. "Well, he could do a lot of powerful jutsus?" Some random kid repeated Naruto's answer in a mocking tone. The other kids bursted out laughing at this. A tick mark appeared on Irika's face. "Naruto, you will read up on the Shodai Hokage and give us all a detailed presentation on his life tomorrow, without fail. Do you understand?" "Okay," Naruto simply said. The boy dozed off soon after. Mizuki was internally seething as he looked at the boy. Irika was angry, but he brushed it off and decided to continue the class. Ino sighed as she looked at Naruto and Shikamaru. Few hours later. Irika and Mizuki lead the students to the training ground for their shuriken and taijutsu practice. Naruto and Shikamaru got average scores for shurikenjutsu practice. Choji did a little better than them. Sasuke got the most points for the shuriken jutsu. As he did, the fangirls went crazy. When it was time for taijutsu practice, both Naruto and Shikamaru said they were not going to participate. Irika threatened Shikamaru. I remember Yoshino-san told me to inform her if you were to laze around. You already do that, but I let you off the hook for sleeping in my class because you get good scores in your tests. As for your practical scores, I am afraid I will have to inform Yoshino-san about it. Irika said the last part with a scary smile. Shikamaru sighed. What a drag. Fine, I will fight. If I am, you're fighting too, Shikamaru said as he looked Naruto. Why Naruto? I won't force you. It just I would hate to tell mom just how badly you failing everything. I wonder what she will do to you if she finds out, Shikamaru said innocently. Naruto paled at this. Prepare to get your ass beat, Naruto said seriously as he looked at Shikamaru. Can I get paired with someone other than him, Shikamaru? Shikamaru was paired with Choji. This made it easier for Shikamaru to throw the match. Naruto got paired up with Kiba. The match before Naruto's was Sasuke's. When Sasuke won his fight, the girls went nuts. Sasuke's so cool. Ino. It always Sasuke this Sasuke that with you. Naruto. Shut up, you just jealous of Sasuke. Ino. Why would I be jealous of him? Naruto. Because you will never be as cool as him, Ino. Naruto just chuckled at Ino before gonna fight. Sensei, can I have wooden sword? Naruto. This is a taijutsu fight, why would you need a sword? Irika. Well, it's 2 against 1. Naruto said, pointing at Akamaru. Also, I am not that skilled at taijutsu. Kiba told Irika it was fine. Naruto was brought a wooden sword. The students watched with interest. They were eager to see how the lazy redhead would fare against Kiba. Are you ready? Irika asked. They both nodded. Begin, Irika. Naruto closed his eyes. Why is he closing his eyes, Ino? Shikamaru and the others also wondered about that. Kiba rushed at Naruto with Akamaru by his side. Take this, he said as he jumped up and came back down with a punch. But before he could make contact with Naruto, a sword strike landed on his face, making him fall back down. Don't rush recklessly at your opponent. That will get you killed, Naruto advised him. Before Kiba could recover, Naruto struck him in the stomach, making him cough up spit. Is this really the same lazy Naruto? Kiba thought. Akamaru jumped at Naruto. Naruto lifted his arm in an effort to block. The dog bit into his arm. Look at you getting worked up for your owner's sake. Adorable. Naruto, I smiled. What happened next shocked everyone. Naruto opened his eyes and glared at the dog. Get lost, Naruto. Akamaru let go of Naruto's arm and ran away in fear. Kiba lifted up his head to see Naruto's intense glare. As Kiba felt Naruto's gaze, he got afraid, putting his sword to Kiba's neck. Forfeit, Naruto said with a cold voice. I forfeit, Kiba said before looking down. Irika announced Naruto's as the winner. As soon as the match was done, Naruto was all smiles again. Well, I am glad I didn't get paired up with him, Shikamaru thought. Irika never thought he would see another expression except a smile on Naruto's face. Mizuki was seething internally. So he's got another side to him as well, Irika thought. Sasuke looked at Naruto with uninterested look. Deep down, he wanted to fight him. After taijutsu practice, everyone went back to the classroom. Do guys want some? Choji said before opening a pack of chips. Don't mind if I do, Naruto said before putting his hand into the pack. Naruto saw that everyone was staring at him. Why is everyone staring at me? Naruto. Shikamaru sighed. As he wanted to explain, he said never mind. When they got back, Irika resumed class. The students turned their attention away from Naruto and focused on the lesson. Kiba wasn't in the right state of mind to focus on the lesson. He was still shaken from the battle. Akamaru was feeling the same as his master. Hinata stared at her crush. Naruto's amazing, she thought. Later, Naruto and Choji were eating snacks while Shikamaru was playing shogi with Shikaku. After eating quite a bit, Naruto decided to take a nap. Naruto wasn't able to. Naruto, when are you going to do your research on the first Hokage? Choji. Oh, I almost forgot about that. Naruto. Irika-sensei would have given you a earful, Shikamaru said before moving a piece on the board. What's this about research on the first Hokage? Shikaku. It's his punishment for sleeping in class. Choji. Naruto Yoshino said with a scary expression. Naruto laughed nervously. Naruto got hit on the head a couple of times. Uncle Shikaku, can you tell me everything you know about the first Hokage? Naruto said while rubbing his head. If you want to know about the first Hokage, you should ask Lord Third. He was the student of Lord First. Shikaku. So the old man was the student of the first Hokage. Damn, that old man is ancient. Naruto. Yoshino scolded Naruto for calling Hiruzen old man. Naruto told her it was fine considering the old man didn't have a problem with it. Naruto, why did you close your eyes during the fight with Kiba? Shikamaru. That was just to give Kiba a handicap. Naruto. Knowing that it was a lie, Shikamaru didn't press him for answers. After a while, Naruto and Choji left. Naruto went straight to Hiruzen's office. Oh, Naruto-kun, what brings you here? Naruto. Old man, I heard you were the student of the first Hokage. I was wondering if you could me about him. Naruto. Why would he want to know about Sensei? Hiruzen wondered. May I ask why you want to know about Hashirama-sensei? Hiruzen. Irika-sensei told me I had to do some research on him. Tomorrow I have to report everything I learned about the first Hokage to him and the class. Naruto. I see. Why don't you take a seat? This is gonna take a while. Hiruzen. Hiruzen told Naruto almost everything about Hashirama. He almost let it slip that they were distant relatives. Thanks for the help, old man. Naruto. No problem. I enjoyed our talk. Hiruzen smiled. Their conversation was great distraction from his paperwork. Naruto got up to leave. Naruto, if you have any other questions or if something is bothering, don't be afraid to come see me. Hiruzen. Sure, old man. Naruto smiled. Later. Naruto was having dinner at the Nara's. So how did it go with Lord Third? Shikaku. It went great. I will be able to give my report just fine. Naruto. From on now, make sure to pay attention in class or else. Yoshino said with a scary face. Yes, ma'am. Naruto. With Kiba. He was staring at the food his sister Hana had made. Kiba's mother arrived back from a mission. She noticed Kiba looked dejected. What's wrong, kiddo? Zoom. Poor Kiba got ass handed to him by his classmate. Hana said mockingly. Shut up, Kiba. You are sulking just because you lost a fight. Zoom. It would be one thing if I lost to Sasuke, but to lose against someone like Naruto, Kiba said as he clenched his fist. Zoom chuckled. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself. That kid's potential is higher than yours. Zoom. That lazy guy has more potential than me, Kiba said skeptical. His parents were quite powerful ninja. If the kid had a good work ethic, I could see him surpassing them. Zoom. Well, you heard mom. He's way out of your league, so don't think of fighting him again. Hana. I will show you both. I will beat Naruto and prove you wrong. Kiba. Is that so? Then you wouldn't mind me upping the difficulty of your training. Zoom said with a scary smile. Fuck, Kiba thought. Next day. Okay, Naruto, the floor's yours. Irika. Hashirama Senju. Hashirama was a leader, a father, a brother, a grandfather, and a mentor. Naruto said sadly. Is this a funeral or something? A random kid said. Shikamaru deadpan at this. Naruto. Irika. Naruto changed his tone. Hashirama Senju is one of the most powerful ninja to ever live. Known to be the legendary first Hokage of Konoha, Hashirama earned himself the title of God of Shinobi. He was tremendously powerful and an exceptionally rare ninja, being the only one capable of using wood release. Hashirama sought peace for the shinobi world, and to that end founded Konohagakure with his clan, his childhood friend and rival, Madara Uchiha and his clan. When Sasuke heard his clan name, he paid attention to Naruto. Hashirama was an excitable man with a boisterous personality. He loved meeting new people, having friendly competitions, and gambling. Headstrong and often impulsive, it fell to others, such as his brother, Tobirama, to be more responsible or realistic about things that Hashirama had gotten carried away with. Despite the first impression he may given, Hashirama was capable of being serious when it came to matters that were important to him. He spent years opposing the practice of sending children to war and dreamed of a shinobi system where a child could be around others their age, never needing to grow up prematurely on the battlefield. Sadly, that isn't the case. Naruto. Irika looked over his students. It pained him knowing that his students would be sent out into the cruel ninja world. Naruto continued. Hashirama became very devoted to Konoha upon its foundation, as it was the realization of his dream for peaceful childhoods. He wanted the rest of the village to cherish what Konoha represented just as much as he did, encouraging them to regard every villager as part of one large family that should always look out for each other. As Hokage, his job was to protect that family at all costs, even if that cost was his life. This philosophy, known as the Will of Fire, would become a cornerstone of Konoha teachings for decades after his death. Naruto said before fake yawning. As Irika saw Naruto yawn, he thought that the boy was tired from the research he did. That's enough, you can go to your seat, Irika. Okay, sensei. Naruto. When Naruto got to his desk, he laid his head on the table facing forward. Naruto wanted to take a nap but remembered he promised Yoshino he would pay attention in class. With Inoki. Inoki had just finished reading the report of his spies. So he's finally showing glimpses of his potential, Inoki said, referring to Naruto beating Kiba. If that Uzumaki brat is allowed to live, he will be a threat to us, not just IWA but all the nations, Inoki. Dad, aren't you overthinking things? Based on the reports, the kid doesn't have any interest in becoming a ninja. Kitsuchi. The brat has no choice in the matter, he will become a ninja whether he likes it or not. As Konoha's Jinchuriki, he won't be able to live a peaceful life. Inoki. So before he can fulfill his potential. Kitsuchi. We'll kill him, Inoki said sternly. Shino looked at Naruto with interest. He was always wondered why his bugs were afraid of Naruto. Just like Shikamaru, Shino was curious about why Naruto was mistreated. Shino thought the fear that his bugs felt and the villagers' treatment were somehow connected. Shino had asked his father Shibi about the matter. Shibi didn't tell Shino about Naruto's Jinchuriki. He only said that the villagers were being foolish. Naruto had noticed the boy's stares, so he invited him to join them for lunch. Shino was shocked. Most of the students avoided because they thought he was disgusting because of his bugs. Naruto and the others were too lazy to care about something simple like that. And thus the introverted boy became friends with the lazy trio. Naruto's peaceful life was slowly coming to an end. Sasuke and Kiba were constantly challenging him to a fight during taijutsu practice. When he was paired with them, he threw the matches. Danzo was constantly putting pressure on Hiruzen. Danzo was upset with Hiruzen because he was letting Naruto waste his potential. Hiruzen, out of all the Jinchuriki, that boy is the weakest. The longer that boy stays weak, the more at risk Konoha's safety is. Danzo. You should have thought about that before you leaked his Jinchuriki status. Hiruzen glared at him. It was necessary. I gave the village a target to focus their anger and hatred on. It was all in order to unite them in our time of unrest. Danzo. Hiruzen was getting tired of seeing his face. Just leave Danzo, Hiruzen said in a tired voice. Before walked away, he told Hiruzen if he continues to be soft on the boy, the village fall to ruin. Hiruzen sighed. He knew Danzo was right, the other villages wouldn't fear them knowing how weak their Jinchuriki was. After his discussion with Danzo, Hiruzen told Naruto he should focus on becoming a ninja. Naruto told the old man he wanted to live a peaceful life. Knowing that boy could be stubborn, Hiruzen didn't argue with him. Hiruzen tasked Shikaku with convincing Naruto. Shikaku tried to persuade Naruto, but he knew it was futile. He gave Naruto a warning. Shikaku told Naruto he would regret his decision. Shikaku would later know how true his words were. In a safe part of the Forest of Death, the academy held a test. In order to ensure the children would be safe, a Chunin or Jounin observed each team. The objective was for the students to obtain each other's scrolls through the course of battle. Naruto was paired up with Choji and Shikamaru. Shino was paired up with Kiba and Hinata. Through the course of the exam, Mizuki was thinking of killing Naruto. Mizuki was assigned to them. Unaware to him, there were people hiding in the forest with that objective in mind. Inoki perceived the burgeoning potential within Naruto, the son of the legendary fourth Hokage, as a dire threat to the balance of power amidst the five great shinobi nations. In his eyes, Naruto embodied a force that could potentially upend the delicate equilibrium that had been meticulously maintained for generations. Driven by his fear and unwavering determination to safeguard the interests of Iwagakure, Inoki resolved to take decisive action against the young Uzumaki. He summoned a clandestine assembly of his most skilled and loyal ANBU operatives, entrusting them with a perilous mission, the elimination of Naruto Uzumaki. The ANBU, known for their impeccable stealth and unwavering dedication, embarked on their covert assignment with resolute determination. They infiltrated Konohagakure under the veil of darkness. They waited for the day of the test to strike. The Umbu waited till Mizuki and the boys were isolated. Mizuki got blindsided by the Umbu and was thus killed. As Naruto and his friends wanted to advance through the forest, they felt an invincible wall was blocking their path. "It looks like it's a barrier, Shikamaru. It seems we got company," Naruto said as he sensed the Umbu. "Quite impressive, young Uzumaki. You were able to detect us even though we were suppressing our chakra." The leader of the group. "What business would Umbu members such as yourself have with academy students, Shikamaru? We are after the young Uzumaki. Umbu. What could they possibly want with Naruto?" Shikamaru thought. "Naruto offers himself to the Umbu. In exchange they let his friends go. Our leader has given us strict orders to kill you, Naruto Uzumaki. So I am sorry you and your friends have to die here, Umbu." A one-sided battle between Naruto, his friends and the Tsuchikige's assassins unfolded. The inexperienced students found themselves overwhelmed by the skilled assassins. Naruto, with his unwavering determination to protect his friends, selflessly sacrificed his left arm to block a lethal sword strike aimed at Choji. Despite his valiant efforts, he was mercilessly stabbed by the assassins, leaving him lying on the ground, close to death's embrace. Shikamaru and Choji sat beside the friend with tears in their eyes. Naruto remembered Shikaku's words. "One day you will regret that you couldn't protect those who you care about, Shikaku." Naruto sat up and looked at the Umbu. With a defiant voice, he uttered, "You can hurt me, spit on me, hate me, that's all right. But know this, if you dare to harm my friends, I will never forgive you." And with that, a potent aura, Conqueror's Haki, erupted from Naruto, sending shockwaves through the forest. Shikamaru and Choji fainted from the pressure of Naruto's Haki. The Umbu remained standing. As the leader felt Naruto's Haki, "Tsuchikage-sama was right, you are a monster that needs to be eliminated, Umbu." The Umbu steeled themselves and prepared to strike down Naruto. Before they could, Naruto's Conqueror's Haki took a tangible red form. The Umbu were enveloped by his Conqueror's Haki. With this, the effect of his Haki on them was amplified. Naruto continued unleashing the power of the Supreme King until he noticed the Umbu were dead. Naruto took in the destruction his Haki had caused to the surroundings before passing out. Anko and the ninja made their way to source of the terrifying aura they sensed. They arrived to sight of the near-dead Naruto, his unconscious friends, and the dead Umbu. Also the destruction of the forest. Seeing the state of student Irika immediately rushed him to the hospital. The other ninja checked up on Shikamaru and Choji to find out they were fine. They also examined the dead bodies. Judging by the wounds on the kid, he was most likely their target. Lord Hokage isn't going to be happy with us for letting this happen, Enko thought. Irika made it to the hospital. When Irika arrived, he requested that Naruto immediately be treated. Naruto got treated by a few medics. With the combined effort of the Ninetales and the medics, the boy was saved. Irika was relieved that Naruto was all right. Naruto received some visitors, but they weren't allowed to see him. They were told to wait till the next day to see him. Few hours later, with Hiruzen, Inoichi was in his office. "Were you able to obtain information from the dead Umbu?" Hiruzen. "Unfortunately not. The moment I entered their minds, their memories were destroyed." Inoichi. Hiruzen sighed. "We have to strengthen our security in order to make sure this doesn't happen again." Hiruzen. "I agree with that, but there might be others who infiltrated the village." If that's the case, we will have to root them out, Hiruzen. Next day, Naruto woke up to see Shikamaru, his parents, Choji, Shino, and the Ichirakus in his hospital room. I am rushed towards Naruto and hugged him. I am so glad you are okay, I am said before crying. Naruto hugged her back. Yoshino also went to hug him. Naruto saw Choji looking at his missing arm with tears in his eyes. Naruto told Choji not to blame himself. Your life is worth more to me than an arm. Naruto smiled. Shikaku smiled at this. This made the boy cry even more. Shikamaru was happy that friend survived. He was still trying to figure out why those Umbu were after Naruto. He concluded that it had something to do with the villagers' treatment of Naruto. Naruto, why do the villagers hate you? And why were those Umbu after you? Shikamaru. I'm rather curious myself, Shino said monotonely. It's due to the Nine Tails. Naruto. So Naruto knows about the fox, Shikaku thought. Naruto's knows of the fox. They met a few times while he was sleeping. What do you mean it's because of the Nine Tails? Didn't the fourth Hokage kill it? Shikamaru. The fourth Hokage couldn't kill the fox. Naruto said. It was just as impossible as everyone was led to believe. So he did the next best thing. He sealed it. But he couldn't seal it just anywhere. He had to seal it into something that would be able to contain all that demon chakra, no matter how big or small of a container. Someone he knew he could trust to be strong enough to hold it back. Naruto. Wait, why you're saying he? Choji gasped. Oh shit. Shikamaru sighed in disbelief. I see. And everyone sees you as the monster that attacked the village and took away their loved ones. Shino said in understanding. Yeah, so do you guys still see me as your friend? I would understand if you didn't. What are you talking about? Of course we're still friends. Shikamaru said. It doesn't matter if you hold the Nine Tails, you are still our friend. Choji and Shino agreed with him. Thanks guys. Naruto. The adults smiled. Naruto, are you hungry? I brought something. Yoshino. I am starving. Naruto. I brought you something too. Tuchi. Thanks. Naruto. Yoshino and Tuchi gave him the food they prepared. After eating. Delicious as always. Wish I had some sake to go down with it. Naruto. You are too young to be drinking. Yoshino scolded him. 1 hour later. Everybody had left. Hiruzen arrived. How are you feeling, Naruto? Hiruzen. I am feeling fine. Naruto. If it isn't bother, can I ask you who dispatched those Umbu? Hiruzen. Oh that. It was me. Naruto. How, Hiruzen? Naruto told Hiruzen he would show him after leaving the hospital. To make sure something like this never happens again, I will get stronger. Naruto. You finally changed your mind. Hiruzen. I will be leaving the academy for a while. Can you get me a kenjutsu instructor? Naruto. I have just the right person in mind. Hiruzen. Can they start as soon as tomorrow? Naruto. Hiruzen nodded. Naruto asked Hiruzen to get him a saber, his preferred type of sword. Hiruzen told Naruto he would have get him a chakra blade. After Hiruzen left, Naruto started sorting out his memories. Yesterday, after he had woken up, memories of his past start flooding back. Sachikage, I will pay you a visit sometime in the future. Naruto. Anoki suddenly felt a chill run down his spine. What is this bad feeling I am getting? Anoki thought. So the one responsible for the attack was the Sachikage. Did he find out Naruto's sensei's son? Kakashi thought. Kakashi was assigned to guard Naruto. Naruto was able to detect Kakashi but didn't react as sensed no hostility coming from him. Later, Hiruzen had summoned Hayate. I would like you to train somebody. Do you think you can handle it? The Hokage asked. Of course I can, Hayate said, straightening up and struggling to keep both his cough and anger in check. I'm sick, not an invalid, though I wonder why you ask this year, after so many times before. The Hokage smiled sadly. Always so proud. I know you can, Hayate. The person you will be training is Naruto Uzumaki. The Jinchuriki? Hayate asked, surprised. Why me? Aside from the fact you just answered your own question, the Hokage chuckled at the confounded expression on the man's face. You see him as a person, not as a monster. There are precious few who would see him as such. Aside from that, I think you would be a good teacher for him. The boy is interested in learning the way of the sword. Hayate thought about things for a moment before agreeing. Very well. I will train. Can ask for Yugao's assistance in training the boy. Excellent. I knew I chose right. Nico. Hiruzen. Yes, Lord Hokage. Nico/Yugao said as she appeared. As you heard, you will help Hayate train the boy. Hiruzen. Understood, Lord Hokage. Yugao. 6 months later. Irika grieved the loss of his friend Mizuki. A few days after the assassination attempt, Anoki learned of the fate of his umbu. It will be harder to kill the boy now. Hiruzen will probably have the boy watched 24/7. Anoki thought. Anoki was later warned by the Akatsuki not to target Naruto ever again. Naruto had left the academy. Kiba, Sasuke, and Hinata wondered where the boy was. Naruto's friends were filled in on the reason of his absence. Hiruzen and his subordinates were able to root out the spies, all except Orochimaru's. The traitors in Konoha Barrier's team were also rooted out. The barrier around Konoha was also reinforced. Naruto was under tutelage of Hayate and Yugao. Jiraiya came back to the village after he heard of the attack. Jiraiya was angry when he heard Anoki was behind the attack. Jiraiya visited Naruto briefly before leaving again. After Naruto's chakra blade was made, he requested a duel with Hayate. At the Chunin exams arena, Naruto and Hayate stood some distance away from each other. In the stands were Naruto's friends, Shikaku, Inujin, and Yugao. I hope you are prepared to lose, Sensei. Naruto. We will see, Naruto, Hayate said before coughing. If both fighters are ready, begin, Hiruzen said before jumping away from them. Naruto and Hayate engaged in a dance of blades. Their swords clashed with blinding speed, creating a symphony of steel that reverberated through the air. With each strike, Naruto displayed his immense physical strength and mastery of observation haki, anticipating Hayate's every move and countering with lightning-fast precision. Hayate, in turn, utilized his incredible speed to dodge Naruto's attacks with ease, while launching his own series of lightning-infused strikes. How is he able to keep up with Hayate? Yugao said, shocked. You seem surprised for someone who trained him, Shikaku. It seems that the boy held out on both you and Hayate. Inoichi. Naruto's friends were in awe of their friend's strength. So you were holding back during our training sessions, Hayate thought. Hayate jumped away from Naruto. He summons 2 shadow clones, and the trio charges towards Naruto with lightning speed. They leap through the air, forming the crescent moon formation that has instilled terror in his foes countless times. Naruto, his red hair flowing behind him like a crimson banner, meets them head-on. His sword, imbued with the power of his conqueror's haki, clashes against Hayate's own blade, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The impact reverberates through their bodies, testing their limits. As the battle rages on, Hayate's shadow clones prove their worth, their movements fluid and synchronized. They attack Naruto from multiple angles, their blades weaving a deadly tapestry of shadows. But Naruto remains unyielding, his haki-infused sword deflecting their strikes with effortless grace. The clash of steel echoes through the arena, a testament to their unwavering resolve. As the battle reaches its climax, Hayate unleashes his ultimate technique, the dance of the crescent moon. Final cut. The 3 attackers converge on Naruto from every direction, their blades poised to end the duel. In retaliation, Naruto unleashes a devastating wave of Conqueror's haki, which took out the clones and left Hayate gasping for air on his knees. Hayate looked up at Naruto and was scared by the sight he saw. Naruto, that's enough. Hiruzen. Naruto stopped releasing his haki. Hayate started coughing up blood. Yugao, take Hayate to hospital. Hiruzen. It take Yugao a few seconds to regain her to steady her breathing. She made her way to Lover and rushed him off to the hospital. Hiruzen smiled at the boy. And you wanted to let your potential go to waste. Hiruzen. Don't worry, old man, from here out, I will only get more stronger. Naruto. I hope so. Hiruzen. Anoki, you are gonna regret waking up this sleeping beast. Shikaku thought before checking on the unconscious kids. Long story short, Naruto drops out of the academy. Hiruzen assigned Naruto new teachers. Asuma taught Naruto how to use wind release and how to imbue it with his sword. Kurenai taught Naruto some genjutsu and how to break them. Jiraiya also trained Naruto. He taught him the Rasengan and Fuinjutsu. Jiraiya tried train him how to use the Nine-Tails chakra. Naruto refused, saying he would rely on his own strength. Naruto taught his friends the basics of Haki. Naruto told them that best way for them to improve their Haki was through combat. Skip to team placement. Everybody was surprised when Naruto suddenly came back to the academy. Some of them looked at him with pity. Others who hated him because of their parents smirked at his missing arm. Iruka congratulates the students for passing. He tells them he is proud of them, and they should work exemplary ninja. After his whole speech, he starts announcing the teams. Skip all the irrelevant teams. Iruka announced that Team 7 will be Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto Uzumaki, and their Jonin sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Sakura was happy being on a team with Sasuke and annoyed that Naruto was on the same team as her and her precious Sasuke. The class was surprised to hear Naruto was in team he did drop out. The only reacted to this was Kiba. What the hell? How did he pass? Kiba said, pointing at Naruto. Didn't he drop out the academy? The others also looked at Iruka with a questioning expression. Kiba, the decision to pass Naruto was made by the Hokage. So if you have a problem, then go sort it out with the Hokage. Iruka. Kiba shut up after hearing that Iruka proceeded to announce the other teams. Skip irrelevant teams. Team 8 Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame and Sensei Kurenai Yuhi. There is already Team 9, which is Team Guy. Team 10 Choji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara and Ino Yamanaka and Asuma announcing the teams. Iruka told the students to wait for their Jonin senseis to come pick them up. Naruto chatted with his friends. Naruto had noticed Hinata was staring at him. He could feel the emotions she was feeling: anger, sadness, and relief. Naruto invited her to join them. She fainted as soon as she received the invitation. Later, the students and their senseis also left soon after. Before Iruka left, he told Team 7 they would be waiting a long time. Sasuke looked at with a curious expression. Few seconds later, he looked away in disinterest. Due to Naruto's missing arm, Sasuke lost interest in fighting him. 3 hours later, Sasuke Uchiha was just about to walk out the classroom in the academy until Sasuke-kun called Sakura. Where are you going? HMPF Sasuke reply, I am leaving. I don't like people wasting my time. As he saw the clock time, where's the coward? Sasuke wondered. Before Sasuke could leave, Kakashi suddenly arrived. He walked to the desk Sasuke and Sakura were sitting is when Sakura started yell at him. You are late. Where the hell have you kept us waiting for 3? What is your excuse, Sakura? Well, I got lost on the road of life, said Kakashi with an eye smile. You know that is the lamiest excuse I have ever heard, yelled Sakura. Sasuke looked irritated after hearing Kakashi's excuse. Meet me up on the roof, Kakashi said as he disappeared in a body flicker. On the roof. Okay, let's start with some introductions, Kakashi. What do you want to know? Sakura. Your likes, dislikes, dreams for the future, hobbies, stuff like that. Kakashi. Why don't you give us an example, Sensei? Sakura. My name is Kakashi Hatake. I have no desire to tell you about my likes or my dislikes. My dreams for the future. I haven't thought about that. I have a lot of hobbies. Kakashi. After hearing that, Sasuke and Sakura sweat dropped. After that, Sakura started with her introduction. I am Sakura Haruno. The thing like is. She stares at Sasuke. My hobbies are. Stares at Sasuke. My dream for the future. Stares at Sasuke. Sakura said, blushing. Humph, Sasuke. Fangirl. She will die early if she doesn't change soon, thought Kakashi with a sigh. What are your dislikes, Kakashi? Ino pig, Sakura. Okay, your turn next, Mr. Dark and Broody, Kakashi said as he points at Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I have few likes and many hobby is dream. No, my ambition is to kill a certain man and avenge my clan. Sasuke. Sasuke is so cool, Sakura thought. So he wants to avenge his clan. That I thought as much, Kakashi thought. Well, okay, your turn. Kakashi points at Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like my friends, drinking, peace and ramen. I dislike hurting others, but I will resort to violence if I need to. My hobby is sleeping, drinking, and eating. My dream haven't really thought about that. Naruto. So a fangirl, a emo, and a alcoholic. Kakashi thought before he sighed. Well, you all unique in your own way. Well, we will start our duties tomorrow with a survival training. Kakashi says. What? But we did enough training at the Ninja Academy, Kakashi-sensei, Sakura says. Well, I'm your opponent, but this isn't normal training. Of the 27 graduates, only 9 will be chosen as Genin, the rest will be sent back to the academy. This training is a super difficult exam with a failure rate of over 66%. Sakura and Sasuke widen their eyes. Naruto looked unfazed by this. Tomorrow you will be graded on the training field 7. So bring all your shinobi tools. Oh, and skip breakfast. You'll throw up. Kakashi. He told them the location of the training ground and left. Next day. You're late. Sakura yells at Kakashi. Sorry I'm late, guys. A black cat crossed my path, so I had to go the long way. And after that I helped some old ladies in need. Kakashi said as I smiled. What the hell? Is that for a obviously lie? Sakura screams. Kakashi shrugs it off. Well, forget it. You guys have till the clock rings. Kakashi says as he put a clock on a log. Huh? Sakura asks. Well, there are 2 bells. Your task is to take these from me before noon. Those who cannot get a bell by noon get no lunch. I'll not only tie you to one of those stumps, but I'll eat right in front of you. Kakashi smirks while putting 3 lunches boxes on the log. So that's why he didn't want us to eat. He wants to torture us. Sakura thought. You only need to get 1 bell. There are only 2, so one of you will definitely be tied to a stump and the person who doesn't get a bell fails, so at least one of you will be sent back to the academy, Kakashi said with a scary face. You can use your shurikens, kunai, etc., so come at me with the intent to kill or you won't succeed. But you will be in danger, Sakura says. I am Jonin, so don't worry. I will be able to handle anything you throw at me. Kakashi. Well, anyway, let's begin. Sakura and Sasuke hide immediately. Naruto took a seat on the ground. He pulled out a scroll. Naruto summoned a jar of sake from the scroll and started drinking. Aren't you gonna hide or attack me? Kakashi. Like I said, I love peace. If I had it my way, I wouldn't have become a ninja at all. Naruto said before drinking again. Kakashi sighed. Shortly after. Sakura fainted after falling a victim of one the Kakashi's genjutsus, and seeing pink-haired girl to faint. Kakashi wondered if he had gone a bit too far with it. Meanwhile, both Naruto and Sasuke in their separated locations heard shrill, absolutely terrified shriek. Jaya-arar. Ah, that was definitely Sakura, Naruto said before drinking. I wonder what Kakashi did to her. Sasuke fared only a bit better than Sakura, and Sasuke ended up miserably stuck in ground, only his head above ground, and after Sakura, who saw it, fainted again. Naruto finally decided to do something. So it is your turn, Kakashi. Let's get this over with so I can go home. Naruto. Kakashi saw that Naruto had a sword at his side. He probably keeps it in a scroll, Kakashi thought. The air crackled with anticipation as they slowly closed the distance between them. Naruto, his right hand resting upon the hilt of his saber, exuded an aura of calm amidst the impending storm. Kakashi, his Sharingan eye ablaze, mirrored Naruto's tranquility, his stance unwavering. Kakashi takes out a scroll and summons a sword. With a sudden burst of speed, Naruto lunged forward, his saber describing a deadly arc through the air. Kakashi effortlessly dodged the attack, his body flowing like water as he weaved through Naruto's relentless strikes. The clash of steel against Kakashi's lightning-infused blade sent sparks flying, illuminating the surrounding shadows. As the duel intensified, Kakashi unleashed a torrent of water needles, each as sharp as a razor. Naruto deftly deflected the projectiles with the flat of his blade. Undeterred, Kakashi summoned a dome of earth, attempting to trap Naruto within its confines. But the red-haired boy was not one to be so easily contained. With a thunderous strike, he shattered the earth wall, sending shards of rock flying through the air. Kakashi met the counterattack with a burst of fireballs, engulfing Naruto in a sea of flames. Yet, as the smoke cleared, Naruto emerged unscathed, his body protected by his potent Haki. Looks like this won't be easy, Kakashi thought before taking food pills. The food pills helped him replenish his chakra. Kakashi used his water style, great waterfall technique, sending a torrent of water crashing towards Naruto. But the red-haired boy effortlessly sliced through the waves with his sword, imbued with the power of his conqueror's Haki. The impact sent shockwaves through the battlefield, shattering the surrounding trees. Undeterred, Kakashi used his fire release again. A massive wall of flames erupted from his mouth, engulfing Naruto in an inferno. The flames dissipated harmlessly around Naruto, who stood unharmed, protected by his armament Haki. Naruto retaliated with his own devastating technique. Naruto infused his sword with sharp winds, transforming it into a lethal weapon. With lightning speed, he lunged at Kakashi, his blade cutting through the air with a deafening whistle. Kakashi dodged the attack at the last moment, using his Sharingan to predict Naruto's movements. The two fighters clashed again and again, their swords colliding in a furious dance. Each blow shook the ground, sending up clouds of dust. Suddenly, Kakashi unleashed his most powerful attack, Raikiri. Blue lightning surged around his hand, forming a crackling ball of energy. He used most of his remaining chakra for the jutsu. Naruto countered with Divine Departure, a powerful slash that uses advanced conqueror's Haki. The two energies collided with a thunderous explosion that illuminated the battlefield. The clash caused large explosion. As the dust settled, Naruto stood tall. Kakashi laid on the ground with a large cut on his torso. Ha ha ha, damn, you are strong, Naruto thought before touched the scar on his eye, which was caused by Kakashi's Raikiri. Naruto took Kakashi to the hospital. Sasuke and Sakura woke up. Sakura was about to pass out again. Before she could, Sasuke yelled at her, telling her dig him out. After Sasuke got out of the hole, he noticed the bells laid near them. Why are the bells here? It must be a trap, Sasuke thought. Sakura saw the bells and picked them up before Sasuke could say something. When she picked them up, nothing happened. What is going on? Sasuke thought. We got the bells. That means we passed Sasuke. Sakura. Something didn't sit right with Sasuke. They made their way through the training ground. They came across the destruction caused by the clash of Naruto and Kakashi. Who could have done this, Sakura? Instantly he thought of Naruto. No way, it can't be. The dope can't be that strong, Sasuke thought in denial. After a while, the two left the training ground. At the Hokage's office. All the Jonin senseis except Kakashi were in the Hokage's office telling him whether their teams failed or passed. Skip all irrelevant teams. Team 8 passes Kurenai. How were they? Hiruzen. They had good teamwork, but they could do with some improvements, Kurenai. So what do they need to improve? Hiruzen. Kiba is underestimates his opponents. I fear that may get him killed one day. Other than he has great skill in taijutsu. Hinata, she is a shy girl who does not have confidence in herself. Out of the three, Shino is the best. He saw through my genjutsu easily. He also displayed great leadership. Other than that, he needs to work on his taijutsu, Kurenai. Hiruzen tells her to help them overcome their weaknesses. Yes, sir, Kurenai. Team 10 passed. Asuma. How were they, Hiruzen? I would rate Choji low Chunin. The kid displayed great strength and durability. Shikamaru, although he is lazy, he is a great strategist. His reading of the battle proved instrumental to their passing. Ino, she needs a lot of work. She sucks at everything. Asuma. After that, he told the Jonin senseis they are free to go. At the hospital, Kakashi woke up to see Naruto, sitting on a chair beside his bed drinking. Kakashi laid back down. They talked for a while. Kakashi decided to pass Naruto because he sacrificed his chance of passing by giving Sakura and Sasuke the bells. After their chat, Naruto left. When he made his way to the Naras, the villagers eyed the scar on his face. Naruto didn't pay them attention and made his way to his friend home. When Naruto got there, he was asked about the scar. He told them about clash between him and Kakashi. Time skip 1 month. Sasuke had asked Kakashi about the destruction at the training ground. Kakashi told him Naruto defeated him. Kakashi told Sasuke and Sakura to thank Naruto for helping them pass. This made jealous of Naruto. He challenged Naruto to fights. Naruto ignored his challenges. After a series of uneventful D-rank missions, Team 7 are fed up with the missions they received so far. At Hokage Tower. Now, Team 7, your next duty is… babysitting an alder's grandson, shopping in the neighboring village, and help with the potato digging. The Hokage listed. Cut this crap, I want to do, a more incredible mission, not do chores. Give us a better one. Sakura shouts. I agree, Sasuke. I knew this day comes sooner or later, Kakashi sighs. You are just rookies. Everyone starts off with the simple duties and works their way up. Irika screams at Sakura. Doing chores is no helps to us. We can't develop our technique if we keep this going on. Sakura screams back. I agree with Sakura. If we keep doing these missions, we will never become stronger, Sasuke. It seems I have to explain to you what these duties are all about. The Hokage starts. Listen, every day the village receives numerous requests, from babysitting to assassination. Each request is written down on the lists and divided into an A, B, C, and D ranking based on the difficulty. The village is also divided based on the skill. Also started from Hokage to the Chu and Gunins. The Hokage continued his speak. The missions are then handed out by us at the top to ninjas based on their abilities, and if the duty is completed successfully, we receive payment from the client. And because you guys just recently became genin, D-rank missions are perfect for you. Just gives us a C-rank mission. Sakura's screams are getting on my nerves, Naruto. Kakashi, do you think they are ready for a C-rank mission, Hiruzen? I believe they are. Kakashi. Okay, if you want it that much, I'll give you a C-rank mission. It's a protection mission for a certain individual. The Hokage said. The door opens and… Team 7 meet Tazuna Hiruzen. So this the team who is going to protect me. These three brats and him. The brats look like they won't be much of use to Tazuna. This guy. How dare he insult me and Sasuke-kun, I'll kill him. Sakura shouts and want to strike him, but Kakashi holds her back. Calm down, Sakura, he is the one we are going to protect. What's the point if we kill him? Kakashi said. Well, I am the super expert bridge builder Tazuna. I expect you to provide me super protection until I get back to my country and complete the bridge. Tazuna said. Okay team, let's meet at the gate tomorrow. Bring your equipment and pack necessary food and other things you will need, Kakashi. The next day, Team 7 met up with Team 8, Team 10 and Tazuna. Hiruzen had assigned the other two teams on the mission. The trip overall was pretty boring, or at least until they reached a puddle. The Jonin saw through the enemy's ambush. Kiba and Akamaru smelled them. Shino's bugs buzzed, alerting him of the danger. Choji, Shikamaru and Naruto sensed the enemies with their haki. Choji, Naruto whispered. On it, Choji. Choji jumped above the puddle. His fist expanded. Coated with armament haki, Choji punched the puddle. Ino, Hinata, Sakura and Sasuke were surprised by this. Few seconds later, they found out why the chubby boy attacked. The puddle formed into two people. Kakashi tied up the two unconscious enemies. When they woke up, Hai may ask why you were disguising yourselves as a puddle. Kakashi, I smiled. We are not telling you anything, said one of the brothers. Is that so? Kurenai, if you would please. Kakashi. It would be my pleasure. Kurenai. Kurenai tortured the two with genjutsu. After falling to her illusions, the two were eager to tell them. So Tazuna, why is Gato after you? Asuma. Officially, he runs a large shipping company. But it isn't important. Well, it was about a year ago when he set his eyes on the wave country. Through money and violence, he took control of the country's shipping industry. Gato now has a monopoly on all business traffic in the country. The only thing he has to fear now is the completion of the bridge, Tazuna explains. As Naruto heard the story, his blood boiled. Veins popped out of his forehead. His facial expression gave everyone chills. I see. Since you're building the bridge, you are in his way, Sakura said. But I don't understand, why didn't you hire better ninja or more if you knew ninja are after you? Kakashi said. Well, the country is super poor. Even the feudal lord has no money, and of course we don't have money either. So we have not enough for the expensive B-rank mission, but don't worry about it. If I die, my cute 10 years grad son will just cry for a few days, Tazuna laughed. Oh yeah, my daughter will live a sad life hating Leaf Village ninja forever, but it won't be your fault. Not at all. He continued to laugh. I will help you, Tazuna. Naruto, Choji, Shino, and Shikamaru also volunteered to help him. Sasuke also. Thank you, Tazuna. Well, I guess we have no choice to protect at least until you get back to your country, Kakashi. Kakashi, are you sure? This is no longer a C rank. It's probably a B or A rank mission. Gato may send other ninja after Tazuna. Asuma. If that happens, I will crush them. Naruto. For a split second, Naruto had red sparks cackling around him. The Jonin, his friends, and Sasuke knew Naruto meant business. Kiba and Ino didn't take this seriously. They continued to walk until they came to a lake. Tazuna's friend was waiting for him with a boat. The genin got on the boat. The Jonin walked on the water, seeing as there was no space for everyone. After hours, they made it to land. They climbed of the boat. They walked for a couple of minutes until Sasuke suddenly twitched and threw a kunai to a bush, but a white rabbit come out. Sasuke-kun, you almost killed that cute rabbit. Sakura. What? A white rabbit here? But it's summer. Was it for a kawarimi? Kakashi thought. He realized what would happen. Damn it, Kakashi cursed. Everyone get down. Then suddenly a big sword was thrown at them. Kakashi took Sakura down. Sasuke ducked. The rest also ducked. However, Naruto didn't. He caught the blade. He tossed it into a tree. Well, if isn't that the copycat Kakashi? No wonder the brothers failed, the attacker said as he appeared on his sword. Who the hell is he? The genin thought as they looked at their attacker. Well, if it isn't the Hidden Mists Rouge ninja Zabuza Momoichi, said Kakashi. Sasuke and Kiba prepares to attack, but Kakashi stopped them. Sasuke was angry because Kakashi stopped him. Sorry you two, but this one is on a whole other level. I'm going against him and I will need. Kakashi apologized. As he lift up his headband that cover his eye and shows the Sharingan. What? How can he have the Sharingan? Only the Uchihas had it, Sasuke said, surprised. Sharingan? What the hell is that? Sakura asks as she sees the Sharingan for the first time. Well, it is said that some have the ability in their eyes to read and defeat all types of gen, tai, and ninjutsu. The Sharingan is one of the types of pupil that gives you this power. Answer Sasuke. But that's not the only ability the Sharingan has. Exactly. That's not all. What even scarier is that you can copy your opponent's techniques once you see them. Zabuza continue what Sasuke said. Well, if isn't my lucky day, I get to fight the copy ninja Kakashi, the man who has copied over a 1,000 jutsu. Zabuza. Wow. I didn't know our sensei was that great, Sakura thought. The Sharingan is really a great weapon, but what's going on? The Sharingan is a special physical condition that only appears in a select few members of the Uchiha clan. How can he have it? Even perfectly, could he be? Sasuke thought. Aren't you forgetting me, Asuma? Asuma Sarutobi, a former member of the 12 Guardian Ninja. You don't interest me that much. Zabuza. This hurt Asuma's pride a little. Zabuza Momoichi, the demon of the mist. If I were to fight him on my own, I would certainly lose. Kurenai thought. Now let's end talking. I have to kill that old man, Zabuza says. But it seems I have to beat you three first, he says as he disappear and appear on the water. Ninpu, hidden mist no jutsu, Zabuza says and disappeared. Naruto used the wind breakthrough technique to clear the mist. So they cleared my mist, Zabuza thought. Your opponent will be me. Tell your friend to come out. I will take you both on. Naruto. What friend, Zabuza? This intimidated Zabuza slightly. Interesting, Zabuza thought. Zabuza called for Haku. Sasuke and Kiba wanted to fight with Naruto. He also gave them the look, bringing them to their knees. Naruto told everyone to get out of the way. They distanced themselves from the battlefield. In a flash, Zabuza attacked, his blade gleaming menacingly. With lightning speed, Naruto unsheathed his sword, the crystalline steel ringing through the air. Prepare yourself, brat, growled Zabuza, his voice a chilling whisper. As the two swords clashed, a deafening clang reverberated through the forest. Zabuza's strength was formidable, But Naruto's skill and unwavering resolve proved a match for his power. Meanwhile, Haku, the silent and deadly assassin, emerged from the foliage, her icy needles glinting in the sunlight. With precision and finesse, Haku launched her needles at Naruto. However, the red-haired boy's keen eye and nimble reflexes allowed him to effortlessly dodge the lethal projectiles. The spectators watched with awe and jealousy. As the battle raged on, the battlefield became a swirling vortex of steel and ice. Undeterred, Zabuza summoned his devastating water dragon technique, enveloping the area in a torrential downpour. Amidst the chaos, Haku's needles pierced Naruto's shoulder, but the red-haired boy remained unyielding. Naruto unleashed a Haki-infused slash. A shockwave of energy surged through the air, shattering the water dragon technique and sending Zabuza and Haku tumbling backwards. The duo got back up. The battle resumed with a flash of movement as Haku darted forward, her speed akin to a blur as she again unleashed a barrage of razor-sharp ice needles towards Naruto. The red-haired boy deflected the projectiles with ease. Zabuza, seeing an opening, surged forward with his massive sword raised high, intent on delivering a crushing blow to Naruto. The red-haired boy, unfazed by the looming threat, met his attack head-on, their blades clashing with a resounding clang that echoed through the island. The sheer force of their collision sent shockwaves rippling through the ground, creating deep fissures in the earth. As the fight continued on, the combatants moved with a fluidity that was unmatched, their movements a mesmerizing dance of death and destruction. Haku's graceful ice techniques clashed with Naruto's overwhelming strength, each blow resonating with the force of a thunderclap. Naruto blocked Zabuza's relentless onslaught with excitement. Meanwhile, Haku moved with a fluid grace that belied her deadly intent, weaving a web of ice mirrors around Naruto with frightening speed. The mirrors shimmered and shifted, reflecting the sunlight in a dazzling display of beauty and danger. Zabuza got out of Haku's way. Haku prepared to throw her ice projectiles at blinding speeds. But Naruto was no ordinary fighter. With a roar of a king, channeling his energy into a devastating blow that shattered the ice mirrors and sent shards flying in all directions. Haku dodged and weaved through the chaos, her eyes narrowing in concentration as he searched for an opening to strike. Zabuza appeared behind Naruto, trapping him in a water prison. Haku summoned her mirrors again. Zabuza created a clone and switched with it. He got out of Haku's way. Naruto reacted fast, quickly destroying the prison and killing the clone. Naruto sent wind slashes at the mirrors. Haku quickly jumped out of the mirrors before the attacks could land. In a desperate bid to turn the tide of battle, Haku and Zabuza combined their skills, creating a deadly fusion of ice and water techniques that threatened to engulf Naruto in a torrent of destruction. The red-haired boy, however, remained unyielding, his determination unshaken as he faced their combined assault head-on. With a mighty roar, Naruto unleashed his own elemental power combined with Conqueror's Haki, summoning a tempest of wind that clashed with Haku and Zabuza's watery onslaught. The resulting explosion of energy lit up the sky, illuminating the battlefield in a dazzling display of power and fury. When the dust settled, Naruto stood victorious, his form bathed in a black aura of triumph. Haku and Zabuza lay defeated at his feet, their bodies battered. Mom was right, I am not on his level, Hiba thought. Sasuke seethed. He's so cool, Ino thought. As impressive as ever. Shino. Shikamaru and Choji chuckled. Naruto-kuin's amazing. Hinata. Kurenai and Asuma looked proudly at their student. Sensei, your son is on the road to surpassing you, Kakashi thought. Sakura, who heard of the battle between Naruto and Kakashi, didn't believe it. This battle made her believer in the might of Naruto Uzumaki. Is this really the same Naruto? Sakura. Damn, the kid's crazy strong, Tazuna thought. Just as Naruto's blade was about to pierce Zabuza's flesh, a thick mist enveloped the battlefield, obscuring everyone's view. As the mist slowly dissipated, Zabuza and Haku was nowhere to be seen. As the mist cleared, Naruto looked around, but Zabuza and Haku were nowhere to be found. The genin and jonin got on guard, unsure of what had just transpired. Where did they go? Sakura asked, scanning the area with a mixture of fear and confusion. They must have escaped using some sort of jutsu, Kakashi deduced, his Sharingan eye scanning the surroundings for any sign of their enemies. Asuma grunted in frustration. We can't let them get away. They'll only come back stronger if we don't finish this now. Let them be, Naruto. With Zabuza and Haku having escaped, the Leaf Ninja prioritized their primary mission of escorting Tazuna safely to his destination. With a collective sigh of relief, they decided to continue their journey and ensure Tazuna reached his home unharmed. The genin gathered around Naruto, their curiosity piqued by his remarkable strength. Ino, voicing the question on everyone's mind, asked, Naruto, how did you become so strong? Naruto, with a mischievous grin, responded, Oh, I made a deal with the devil. Sakura and Ino exchanged worried glances, taking his jest more seriously than intended. Kiba, rolling his eyes, said, Cut it out with the jokes, Naruto. Seriously, how did you become so strong? After I left the academy, I didn't just laze around. I trained hard, he explained. I learned Kenjutsu from Hayate-sensei and his girlfriend Yugao-sensei. And then there was wind release techniques from Asuma-sensei. The others looked on, impressed and surprised by the revelation. Naruto continued, Kurenai-sensei helped me with chakra control, genjutsu, and even how to cancel out genjutsu. It wasn't easy, but I was determined to get stronger. Ino, Sakura, Hinata, and Kiba listened intently, each processing the determination and hard work Naruto had put into his training. Sakura asks Naruto why he received special training. Sakura's question hung in the air, sparking an unexpected and intense curiosity among the group. Sasuke's expression turned sour, a hint of jealousy evident as he grappled with the fact that Naruto received such specialized training. He couldn't help but wonder why he, a recognized prodigy of the Uchiha clan, hadn't been afforded the same opportunity. Kakashi, sensing the growing tension and confusion, decided it was time to reveal a piece of Naruto's past that had been kept from most of his peers. Shikamaru and Choji, who were part of this hidden chapter of Naruto's life, looked away, their faces etched with discomfort and guilt as they remembered the painful event. The reason Naruto dropped out of the academy, Kakashi began, stems from the test you all took 2 years ago in the Forest of Death. Naruto, along with Shikamaru and Choji, were part of a team. During the test, they were ambushed by assassins from the hidden stone village. The genin, now listening intently, were taken aback by the revelation. Kakashi continued, These weren't ordinary ninja. They were seasoned assassins sent with a specific target in mind, Naruto, because of his unique situation. Kakashi paused, allowing the gravity of the situation to sink in. In the battle, Naruto lost his arm while protecting Choji and Shikamaru. The severity of the attack and its implications forced the Hokage to reassess Naruto's situation. The others, now understanding the gravity of what Naruto had gone through, looked at him with a mix of shock, sympathy, and respect. Kakashi added, to ensure his safety and to prepare him for the dangers that still lie ahead, the Hokage arranged for Naruto to receive special training. The group was quiet, processing the information. However, a lingering question remained, one that Sakura voiced softly, but why was Naruto targeted in the first place? The Tsuchikage, Naruto began, feared my potential. His voice was steady. I was seen not just as a leaf shinobi, but as someone who could become a significant threat in the future. His answer, while truthful, skillfully skirted around the deeper, more personal reasons behind his targeting. His status as the Jinchuriki of the Ninetales and his lineage as the son of Minato Namikaze. The genin's expressions morphed into a mix of curiosity and surprise as Naruto's revelation sank in. The notion that a Kage, a figure of immense power and authority, would fear someone like Naruto seemed almost incomprehensible to them. It raised questions about Naruto's true capabilities and the extent of his potential. As Sasuke watched Naruto interact with the others, a pang of jealousy twisted in Sasuke's gut. He couldn't help but compare himself to his red-haired teammate, wondering why it was Naruto who had drawn the attention and fear of a Kage. While he remained in the shadows, his own abilities overshadowed by Naruto's perceived potential. Am I not good enough? Whispered the voice of doubt in Sasuke's mind. He had always strived to surpass his limits, to prove himself worthy of his prestigious lineage as an Uchiha. Yet, despite his efforts, he couldn't shake the feeling of inadequacy that now gnawed at him. As his gaze lingered on Naruto, who seemed oblivious to the turmoil raging within Sasuke, A flicker of determination ignited in his eyes. I won't be overshadowed, Sasuke vowed silently to himself, his jaw set in a firm line. I'll prove myself, no matter what it takes. With a steely resolve, Sasuke pushed aside his feelings of jealousy and envy, channeling them into fuel for his ambition. He would rise above the shadows of doubt and insecurity, carving out his own path to greatness, one that would rival even the legendary potential of Naruto Uzumaki. With the conversation over, they made their way to Tazuna's house. Upon arrival, they see Tsunami. Welcome back, Dad. It is good to see you. Who are these people? Tsunami. Tsunami, it good to see you too. They are Leaf Ninja I hired to protect me while I'm building the bridge. Tazuna. So you were able find you for protecting my father. Tsunami. It's no problem, Miss Tsunami. Kakashi. We are simply doing our job, Asuma. Inari appeared, running towards Tazuna to give him a hug. Grandpa, said Inari as he hugged him. Inari, it is good to see you. Tazuna. Grandpa, who are they, Inari? They are ninja I hired to protect me while I'm building the bridge. Tazuna. Grandpa, you should give up on building the bridge. Gato's men are going to kill you if you don't, Inari. Inari's brows furrowed in frustration and fear as he pleaded with his grandfather to abandon the project. Stop building the bridge, Grandpa, he urged, his voice trembling with emotion. Gato's men will kill you if you don't. Tazuna's resolve remained unshaken as he explained. The bridge is our only hope to break free from Gato's tyranny, Inari. We cannot let fear dictate our actions. Inari's frustration boiled over, his voice rising with each word. You're being an idiot, Grandpa, he exclaimed, his fear and anger bubbling to the surface. Everyone who's ever stood up to Gato has ended up dead. Shikamaru, sensing the gravity of the situation, stepped forward, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to Inari's turmoil. Gato's men may seem formidable to you, but they're nothing compared to us ninja, he reassured Inari, casting a meaningful glance towards Naruto and his comrades. Believe me, we'll make short work of Gato's lackeys. But Inari's fear ran deep, rooted in the painful memories of loss. You don't understand, he whispered, his voice trembling with uncertainty. His fear of Gato made him seem invincible. Inari calls them fools before running away. Later, as the Leaf Ninja unsealed their provisions from their offers to prepare a meal for them, was met with grateful nods and appreciative smiles. The long journey had left them weary and hungry, and the thought of a warm, home-cooked meal lifted their spirits. Tsunami wasted no time in gathering the ingredients, her movements fluid and efficient as she worked in the small kitchen. The aroma of fresh herbs and spices filled the air, mingling with the comforting scent of simmering broth. As the genin and their sensei settled into the cozy warmth of Tazuna's home, they exchanged stories and shared laughter, the camaraderie between them growing stronger with each passing moment. Despite the challenges they had faced and the dangers that still loomed on the horizon, they found solace in each other's company and the simple pleasures of a shared meal. Time skipped night. At Zabuza's hideout. Demon of the Mist, more like baby demon of the mist. I knew this was going to happen, so took I the initiative to hire someone else. Come in, Gato. Kisame enters the hideout, looking at Zabuza with a smug smirk. Zabuza glared at him. I will leave you two to catch up, Gato said before. As Kisame stood over the injured Zabuza, a smug grin spread across his face, clearly enjoying the superiority of the moment. The tension between the two former Mist swordsmen was palpable, the air thick with unsaid accusations and bruised egos. Kisame, breaking the silence with a tone dripping with condescension, began, Zabuza, the demon of the hidden mist, brought low by a child? I must admit I'm disappointed. I expected more from a fellow swordsman of the mist. Zabuza, his pride wounded and irritation flaring at Kisame's smugness, retorted through gritted teeth. Don't get cocky, Kisame. That child you speak of is unlike any opponent we've faced. He possesses powers and skills that are far beyond normal. It was an oversight on my part. Kisame's grin only widened at Zabuza's admission, his eyes glinting with amusement and perhaps a hint of respect. An oversight, huh? Sounds like you're losing your edge, Zabuza. Or maybe you've just gotten soft. Zabuza scoffed, trying to sit up despite his injuries, his pride refusing to let him appear weak in front of Kisame. Soft? Never. It was a strategic miscalculation, nothing more. Next time, things will be different. Next time, Kisame laughed, the sound echoing mockingly around them. You think there will be a next time after this debacle? Gato's not the forgiving type, Zabuza. And frankly, neither am I. I'm here to clean up your mess and to make sure the job gets done right. Zabuza's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint appearing within them as he processed Kisame's words. Just remember, Kisame, the day might come when you find yourself in my position. And when that day comes, remember this moment and how quickly fortunes can change. Kisame's smile faded slightly, replaced by a momentary flicker of acknowledgement of the truth in Zabuza's words. Fortunes change, yes, but let's not forget who remains standing this time. Just ensure your strategic miscalculations don't become a habit, Zabuza, or you might not live to regret them. With that said, Kisame turned to leave. As Kisame turned away from Zabuza, Haku's glare, sharp and unwavering, followed him. Her loyalty to Zabuza was unwavering, and seeing her master insulted and demeaned stoked a fierce protectiveness within her. Noticing her stare, Kisame paused, turning his shark-like gaze towards Haku. His voice, when he spoke, carried a cold, menacing edge. Brat, I'd advise you to keep that glare in check. Your loyalty is commendable, but misplaced here. Your master failed, and anger towards me won't change that fact. Haku's eyes narrowed, but her stance remained defensive, prepared to protect Zabuza at a moment's notice. Despite her youth, her determination was clear, her presence radiating a quiet strength. Kisame smirked, almost amused by her defiance. Listen well, child. The world we live in respects strength and results, not intentions or emotions. Your master knows this, as should you. Direct your anger towards those who weaken your position, not those who speak the truth. He took a step closer, his presence imposing. And be warned, your skills are notable for your age, but if you cross me, I won't hold back simply because you're a child. Understand this. Loyalty to the weak is a quick path to the grave. Haku remained silent, her glare softening not out of submission, but understanding. She knew the harsh realities of their world, the fine line between loyalty and survival. Kisame, with one last look at the both of them, a mix of warning and a strange respect, finally turned and walked away. Haku stayed by Zabuza's side, her resolve undimmed, her loyalty unwavering. She knew the road ahead would be fraught with danger, but her determination to protect Zabuza, no matter the cost, remained as strong as ever. Next day, Naruto's clones accompanied Tizuna to the bridge. The Jonin senseis were preparing their genin for their upcoming battle. They knew Zabuza would return. They suspected he may have reinforcements. The genin held spars with each other. Naruto challenged his friends. Naruto faces them in an open field, a wooden sword in hand, his presence alone commanding attention and respect. The air is tense with anticipation. Shikamaru, always the strategist, is the first to act, attempting to predict Naruto's movements with his observation haki. He directs Choji and Shino, planning to use their abilities in a coordinated attack. However, Naruto, with a smile, effortlessly dodges their combined efforts, his own observation haki foreseeing their moves. Choji, using his clan's secret technique, enlarges his arm, coating it with armament haki, aiming a massive blow at Naruto. The red-haired parries with his wooden sword, the clash emitting a shockwave, demonstrating the raw power of haki-enhanced strength. Choji is pushed back, but his resolve is unbroken, his eyes shining with the thrill of real combat. Shino unleashes a swarm of insects, each infused with a trace of armament haki, making them more resilient and dangerous. Naruto is impressed. It's a creative application he hadn't anticipated. With a swing of his wooden sword, enveloped in an aura of his own armament haki, he disperses the swarm, his action swift and precise. The battle progresses with Naruto expertly countering each move, pushing the trio to their limits. Yet, he also leaves openings, teaching them even in combat. Shikamaru, quick to adapt, begins to see the pattern in Naruto movements, his observation haki evolving in real time. He directs Choji and Shino with more strategic precision, their teamwork improving by the moment. In the end, Shikamaru traps Naruto with his shadow possession jutsu. "You've all come far," he acknowledges in a proud tone, "but this is not enough to beat me." Naruto subdues them with his conqueror's haki, enveloping them in its embrace. Shikamaru lost his composure, his hold on Naruto breaking away. Naruto stops, releasing his haki as he saw that the others passed out or were struggling to breath. Naruto praises his friends again. While taking breaths, Sasuke thought, "Someday I will surpass you." After the training, Naruto searched for Zabuza. "Looking good, I see," Naruto said sarcastically as he looked at them. "How did he get in here? I didn't sense him," Haku thought. The two got ready to fight. "Stand down, Naruto." Zabuza and Haku were shaking with fear. Naruto's glare turned into a smile. "Relax, guys, I didn't come here to fight." Naruto. "What do you want, kid?" Zabuza. "I want to ask you guys for a favor." Naruto. "What would you ask of us?" Haku. "Take care of Gato and his men for me." Naruto. "Why asks us? That should be child's play for you." Zabuza. Naruto said as he placed his hand on his blade. "If you do this favor for me, I would be more than willing to allow you both to live." Zabuza didn't want the smoke. "Fine, kid. Just know that all of Gato's money will be mine." Zabuza. "Just be sure to leave enough for the land of waves to recover." Naruto. Naruto left Zabuza's hideout. "Damn, that kid's scary." Zabuza. Night. Everybody was at the dinner table. They were all enjoying the food until... "What's the point in becoming stronger? You will die anyway." Inari. "Don't worry, kid, we got this." Kiba. "Why? Why do you guys bother to try so hard? No matter how hard you train, you're still no match for Gatu's men. I'd hate to be like you. You don't know anything about this country yet you're being so nosy. What the hell do you know? You don't know how hard life can be. You don't what it is like to suffer." Inari cried. Naruto stood up. Everybody was disturbed as they saw that his eyes were lifeless. As Naruto pushed his chair back from the dinner table, his teammates, other Leaf Ninja, along with Tazuna and Tsunami, exchanged glances. With a curious tilt of her head, Tsunami spoke up first, her voice laced with guilt. "Where are you off to, Naruto?" she inquired, her brow furrowing slightly. Naruto offered them a reassuring grin. "Just going for a walk," he replied casually, his tone light but his eyes said another matter. "Be careful out there," Tazuna chimed in, his voice tinged with concern as he glanced out the window at the darkening sky. With a wave and a promise to return soon, Naruto slipped out the door, his footsteps echoing softly on the wooden porch as he disappeared into the night, leaving his companions to wonder about the thoughts swirling in his head. Inari's gaze shifted towards Naruto, who stood at the door, his expression unreadable, looking at Naruto's missing arm. He was shocked that he failed to pay attention to it. Sasuke followed after Naruto. Shikamaru's words broke the silence, his voice tinged with a somber tone. "Out of all of us, those two know what it means to suffer," he mused, his eyes lingering on the door through which Naruto and Sasuke had disappeared. Inari's gaze fell to the ground, weighed down by guilt. He couldn't shake the feeling that his words had stirred up painful memories for Naruto and Sasuke. Tazuna, noticing his grandson's distress, placed a comforting hand on his shoulder, offering silent support in the face of Inari's remorse. Naruto sat beneath a towering tree. He had sensed that someone was watching him and his comrades. The presence followed him as he left the house. "Come out!" Naruto called out into the darkness, his voice steady but tinged with curiosity. As the figure emerged from the shadows, Naruto's eyes narrowed in recognition at the sight of the distinctive headband adorning the newcomer's forehead. "You must be a pal of Zabuza's." Naruto. The newcomer, revealed to be Kisame Hashigaki, regarded Naruto with a predatory gleam in his eyes, his sharp features twisted into a smirk of amusement. "The name's Kisame Hashigaki," he introduced himself, acknowledging Naruto's observation with a nod. "I heard from Zabuza that you are quite strong, Kisame." Naruto's gaze remained unwavering as he assessed the situation. "You were able to sense me, while the others were unaware of my presence. That's quite impressive, Kisame." "Are you after the old man?" Naruto inquired, his gaze narrowing. Kisame nodded in affirmation, his intentions clear as he revealed his sinister motives. "If I wanted to, I could have easily destroyed the old man's house along with you all in it," Kisame admitted, his tone tinged with amusement. But where would the fun in that be? Sasuke, concealed nearby, seethed with anger at the thought of the danger Kisame posed. He clenched his fists. If he wanted to, he could have easily killed us all. I am guessing you want to settle this with a duel, Naruto. Exactly, Kisame confirmed with a smirk. Once you are out of the picture, it will be easier to kill your comrades. I accept, Naruto. Splendid, Kisame responded, his tone dripping with anticipation as he revealed the location of their impending battle. As Naruto turned to depart, his gaze shifted towards the hidden presence he had felt that always followed him around. Before I go, Kisame, tell your friend to stop following me, Naruto declared, his voice firm and unwavering. The next time I catch him, I won't let off easy. With that, Naruto vanished into the night, leaving Kisame to ponder his warning. As Naruto disappeared from view, a figure emerged from the ground, revealing the enigmatic Zetsu. That boy really is impressive. It's no wonder that Sasuke fears him, Zetsu remarked, his voice a whisper on the wind as he observed Naruto's departure with keen interest. Kisame and chatted for a bit. Before I go, I'll deal with the rat that's been hiding, Kisame declared, his hand instantly reaching for the hilt of his menacing blade. Sasuke's heart pounded in his chest as he heard Kisame's ominous words, his panic rising with each passing moment. With a surge of adrenaline, he made a split-second decision, revealing himself to the Akatsuki members with a defiant glare. Kisame's gaze fell upon Sasuke, his sharp eyes assessing the young ninja with a hint of curiosity. Is it just me? Or does this brat look like Itachi? Kisame mused aloud, his tone tinged with amusement. That's his little brother, Sasuke, Zetsu interjected, providing Kisame with the missing puzzle piece. At the mention of Itachi's name, Sasuke's rage flared to life, his anger clouding his judgment as he demanded answers from the Akatsuki members. But Kisame's response was chilling, his words dripping with malice as he emitted a powerful aura of bloodlust that sent shivers down Sasuke's spine. That information is of no use to you, Kisame retorted, his tone cold and unforgiving. Considering you are going to die here. Sasuke's fear surged as he found himself facing the overwhelming power of Kisame's bloodlust, his mind reeling with the realization that his life hung in the balance. But before Kisame could make a move, Zetsu intervened, offering a grim warning. Little Sasuke here is Itachi's prey, Zetsu explained. If you were to kill him here, Itachi will most certainly try to kill you. Kisame sighed, the weight of Zetsu's words sinking in as he considered the implications of his actions. With a resigned nod, he disappeared. Zetsu followed suit, vanishing into the ground, left Sasuke alone in the aftermath of the encounter. Sasuke's knees buckled beneath him as he sank to the ground, his body trembling with fear and adrenaline. I almost died, he thought, his mind swirling with the realization of how narrowly he had escaped death's embrace. Naruto's sudden appearance behind Sasuke sent a jolt of surprise through the young ninja, making his heart pound wildly. You idiot! Naruto scolded, his voice tinged with frustration as he confronted Sasuke. What would you have done if I wasn't here? Or if that plant guy wasn't able to persuade Kisame? Sasuke's eyes widened in shock as he realized that Naruto had been aware of his presence all along. I didn't realize you were still here, Sasuke stammered, his words trailing off as he struggled to find an adequate explanation for his reckless behavior. Naruto sighed, his expression softening with understanding as he placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder. It's okay, he reassured, his voice gentle but firm. But next time, think before you act? Sasuke nodded, his gaze dropping to the ground as he absorbed Naruto's words. The two went back to Tezuna's. Inari apologized to both of them. For the past days, the Jonin prepared the genin and protected Tezuna while he was building the bridge. Morning. Everybody was ready to go the bridge together. They noticed that Naruto was nowhere to be found. Sasuke told them Naruto went to fight Kisame. The genin noticed the grim faces the Jonin senseis made when they heard the name of the S-rank ninja. Shikamaru's calm demeanor cut through the tension like a beacon of reassurance as he spoke up, his words carrying a sense of confidence that belied the gravity of their situation. It's all right, Shikamaru assured, his voice steady and reassuring. Naruto can handle Kisame. His words, though simple, carried a weight of trust in his friend's abilities, soothing the worries of his comrades. With Zabuza and Haku, they were currently dealing with Gato, in a deserted part of the Land of Waves. Kisame and Naruto stood face to face. Naruto unsealed a scroll. Out of the scroll appears 5 large bottles of sake and 2 cups. Naruto, with his easy grin, extends a bottle of his finest sake towards Kisame, setting a momentarily peaceful tone before the inevitable clash. Kisame's sharp intuition picks up on Naruto's genuine demeanor, recognizing him as a man of honor despite their impending clash. With a nod of appreciation, he accepts the drink without hesitation, acknowledging the mutual respect between them. In a world of deceit and betrayal, gestures like this speak volumes, even amidst the chaos of impending battle. They both know this moment of camaraderie is brief, a calm before the storm of their swords meeting. As they share the drink, the tension simmers, a mutual understanding that in another world, they might have been allies, but in this one, they are fated to be adversaries. Kisame, observing Naruto's unrestrained indulgence in the sake, he rolls his eyes in amusement, recognizing the contrast between his own disciplined demeanor and Naruto's more carefree attitude towards drinking. As he sips his own drink with measured restraint, Kisame can't help but shake his head at the red-haired boy's apparent lack of moderation. Naruto, undeterred by Kisame's restrained demeanor, continues to enthusiastically down the sake, his laughter ringing out amidst the tension of their impending clash. Naruto had finished most of the sake by himself. When they were done drinking, the two stood a fair amount of distance from each other. As the tension crackled in the air between them, Naruto, feeling the effects of the sake coursing through his body, couldn't help but chuckle at Kisame's suggestion. "Are you sure we shouldn't call off this battle? I don't want you to have excuses when I beat you," Kisame said playfully. Naruto, his trademark grin widening despite his slightly intoxicated state, shook his head. "Don't worry about that. Me being drunk doesn't lower my chances of winning in the slightest," he retorted, his tone confident. "Besides, I can take you with one arm tied behind my back," Naruto said with a playful flourish, as he gestured towards his missing limb. The unexpected humor of Naruto's remark elicited a chuckle from Kisame. Naruto's smile turned into a glare. "I don't intend to take it easy on you," Naruto said, drawing his saber slowly, the air around him crackling with the force of his conqueror's haki. "It wouldn't be fun if you did, Kisame." The battle commenced with Kisame charging forward, water gathering around him, swirling into massive torrents with each swing of Samahata. Naruto stood his ground, his own haki pulsating, a visible aura that seemed to distort the space around him. As Kisame struck, a wave of water surged forward, aiming to engulf Naruto and weaken his footing. With a swift movement, Naruto dodged with astounding speed. He slashed at Kisame, who barely managed to block with Samahata. The clash sent out a shockwave, the force of their powers meeting creating a gust that scattered the water around them. Kisame laughed, enjoying the challenge. Samehade absorbed chakra from Naruto, making it grow larger. Kisame launched another series of water-based attacks, this time creating water sharks that rushed towards Naruto from all directions. But Naruto was undeterred. Closing his eyes, he unleashed an even stronger burst of Conqueror's Haki, his willpower manifesting physically. The air trembled, and one by one, the water sharks dissipated, unable to withstand the overwhelming pressure of his spirit. Seeing an opening, Naruto dashed forward, faster than the eye could follow, and managed a direct hit across Kisame's chest. However, the Sharkman's durability was impressive. He recoiled but quickly regained his posture, his wounds healing rapidly as Samahata fed him chakra. As the battle between Naruto and Kisame intensified, the air crackled with tension, and the ground trembled beneath their feet. Naruto, his fiery red hair whipping in the wind, infused his saber with the power of wind release, while Kisame, his sinister grin widening, called upon the primal forces of water to aid him in battle. Naruto focused his will, tapping into the depths of his haki. With a surge of Conqueror's Haki, he sent out a shockwave that reverberated through the battlefield, causing Kisame to momentarily stagger. Sensing his opponent's momentary weakness, Naruto charged forward, his blade wreathed in a black aura infused with armament Haki. Kisame, however, was quick to recover, summoning a horde of water clones to intercept Naruto's advance. The clones launched a coordinated assault on Naruto, but with his observation Haki honed to perfection, anticipated their every move, effortlessly dodging their strikes and countering with precise slashes of his wind-infused blade. Meanwhile, Kisame, his eyes gleaming with malice, unleashed a barrage of water-based jutsu. Water sharks surged forth from the ground, their razor-sharp teeth gnashing hungrily. Naruto, undaunted, surrounded himself with a protective barrier of armament Haki, causing the water sharks to disperse upon contact with his indomitable will. But Kisame was not finished yet. With a swift hand gesture, he summoned a swirling vortex of water, forming a water prison around Naruto, trapping him within its suffocating embrace. Naruto, feeling the pressure of the water closing in around him, focused his willpower, channeling his conqueror's Haki to shatter the prison walls and break free. As the battle went on, both warriors pushed themselves to their limits, their powers reaching new heights with each passing moment. Naruto, drawing upon all three types of Haki and infusing his blade with the elemental fury of wind release, became a whirlwind of destruction, his every strike leaving devastation in its wake. Kisame, meanwhile, tapped into the insatiable hunger of Samahata, using its chakra-draining abilities to replenish his strength and fuel his relentless assault. With each clash of their blades, the battlefield became a maelstrom of water and wind, a testament to the titanic clash of powers between these two legendary warriors. Kisame conjures a large water prison. Kisame roared, "Enough games!" and merged fully with Samahata, transforming into a monstrous shark-like form. Kisame swam circles around Naruto as he was drowning. Naruto focused as Kisame approached. Drawing upon the depths of his conqueror's Haki, unleashed a power unlike anything his opponent had ever witnessed. Manifesting it as ethereal tendrils of pure willpower, his Haki surged forth like whips of lightning, crackling with an otherworldly intensity. With a thunderous roar, Naruto lashed out with his Haki tendrils, each strike carrying the weight of his indomitable spirit. The tendrils moved with blinding speed, weaving through the water prison with fluid movement as they sought out their target. Kisame, caught off guard by the sheer force of Haki, found himself struggling to keep up with the onslaught. But Kisame refused to be overwhelmed. With a series of swift hand gestures, he used a powerful jutsu. The tendrils of Haki crashed against his jutsu, sending ripples cascading across the water prison. But Kisame held firm, his determination unwavering. Seeing his opponent's resilience, Naruto increased the output of his Haki, strengthening the power of his tendrils with a burst of power. Naruto tore through Kisame's water jutsu with ease. With a final, decisive strike, Naruto's Haki tendrils pierced Kisame's body. As the tendrils of Naruto's conqueror's Haki pierced through Kisame's body, a shockwave of sheer willpower surged through his body, causing his very essence to tremble. In that moment of impact, Kisame felt his own resolve waver, his once indomitable spirit faltering under the weight of Naruto's overwhelming presence. Despite his best efforts to fight back, Kisame found himself unable to resist the relentless onslaught of Naruto's conqueror's Haki. As the tendrils tightened their grip, Kisame's vision began to blur, his consciousness fading into darkness. In his final moments, he gazed up at Naruto with a mixture of awe and resignation, knowing that he had been bested by a warrior whose strength transcended mere physical prowess. With a final, decisive strike, Naruto released his hold on Kisame, allowing the defeated ninja to fall to the ground. As Kisame lay defeated, his body battered and his spirit broken, he gazed up at Naruto with a mixture of awe and resignation. Despite the pain and humiliation of his defeat, there was a grudging admiration in his eyes, mingled with a hint of bitterness. "You," Kisame muttered, his voice hoarse with exhaustion. "You're a monster, Naruto Uzumaki." His words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of defeat and the acknowledgement of Naruto's overwhelming power. "You fought well, Kisame," Naruto replied with a smile. Naruto stood over the battered form of Kisame, his saber raised high. The air was thick with the aftermath of their intense battle, both warriors having pushed themselves to their limits. As Naruto prepared to deliver the final blow, he paused, a rare smile tugging at his lips. "You fought well, Kisame," Naruto said, his voice carrying a mix of respect and finality. "I had fun." Kisame, his breath coming in ragged gasps, managed a weak grin. Despite his defeat, there was a glint of respect in his eyes as he looked up at Naruto. It was an honor to fight someone of your caliber, Naruto. Not many can push me this far. Naruto nodded, acknowledging the sincerity in Kisame's words. You're a formidable opponent. Few have given me a battle like this. Just as Naruto was about to bring his saber down, a playful, sing-song voice interrupted the moment. Oh, Kisame-senpai got beat. You must be really strong, Naruto-kun. Naruto halted mid-strike, his senses immediately alert. He turned to see a figure materialize from the shadows, almost as if he had always been there but was only now making his presence known. Toby, his singular eye peeking through the hole in his mask, regarded the scene with a playful tilt of his head. This unexpected appearance unsettled Naruto deeply. His observation Haki, which had always served as a reliable sixth sense, alerting him to the presence of others, had failed to detect Toby's arrival. It was as if Toby did not exist within the same realm. Toby's posture was relaxed, almost carefree, which contrasted starkly with the tension of the moment. Naruto narrowed his eyes, his hand instinctively resting on the hilt of his saber. "Who are you?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the surprise. His conqueror's haki flickered around him. Toby responded with a chuckle, tilting his head playfully. "Just someone who enjoys a good show. And what a show you've given us, Naruto-kun." His voice carried a whimsical tone, clearly delighting in the situation. Seeing no immediate threat but remaining cautious, Naruto responded coolly. "If you're here just to spectate, then spectate. But choose your next words carefully." "Oh, no need for threats, Naruto-kun. I'm not here to fight, just here to appreciate the artistry. And maybe borrow this piece of art," Toby quipped, gesturing casually towards Kisame. Before Naruto could react, a swirl of space enveloped Kisame, transporting him away. Just then, Naruto's haki flared, finally detecting Toby's presence. It was as if, for a brief moment, Toby had fully stepped into their world, allowing his essence to be sensed. The realization hit Naruto. Toby's abilities were not just about invisibility or stealth. He could exist on the edge of perception, undetectable until he chose otherwise. Before disappearing, Toby's previously playful and childlike tone shifted, deepening into something far more serious and ominous. "We will meet again, Naruto," he said, his voice resonating with a gravity that contrasted sharply with his earlier levity. The swirling space around him seemed to echo his words, lending them a chilling resonance. Naruto stood firm, his gaze piercing the fading image of Toby. The sudden detection of Toby's presence left Naruto contemplating the nature of this enigmatic assailant. After resting for a bit, Naruto made his way to Gado's stronghold, where Zabuza and Haku had already overpowered Gado's lackeys. Naruto asked for the Land of Waves cut of the money. Zabuza handed him the money. Naruto sealed it inside his scroll. "Kid, would you be willing to fight someone? I'll pay any price." Naruto, ever the pacifist, hesitated before declining firmly. "I can't, Zabuza." Naruto. Zabuza, a hint of frustration in his voice, pleaded his case. "You'd be saving lives, Zabuza." Sensing Zabuza's deep emotions, Naruto decided to listen. "Who do you need me to fight?" Naruto. "The guy I want you to fight is Yagura, the Mizukage and Jinchuriki of the Three Tails." Zabuza. Yaguya was a kind man, beloved by the people of the Mist. Later on he became ruthless, a tyrant drunk on power. "Do you know what happened to make him change so drastically?" Naruto. "Some speculate that Yagura is being controlled. I don't know if it's true." Zabuza. Naruto's expression softened with understanding as he processed Zabuza's words. "I'll help the Mist. It's the right thing to do." Naruto. Zabuza thanked him. As Naruto departed, Zabuza's gaze hardened as he turned towards Gado, who quivered in fear. "It's time to die, Gado." Gado, desperate and trembling, attempted to reason with the merciless shinobi. "But we had an agreement, Gado." Zabuza's smirk was cold and unforgiving as he raised his blade, cutting through Gado's feeble protests. "The deal is off, Zabuza." With a quick motion, Zabuza brought down his blade, severing Gado's head from his shoulders, putting an end to the tyrant's reign of terror once and for all. Naruto returned to the bridge where his comrades diligently worked alongside Tazuna. "Hey everyone, I've got some good news." Gato won't be bothering us anymore. Naruto. Tazuna and the bridge workers' eyes lit up with relief. Kakashi and the others ask about his battle with Kisame. Naruto tells them, but keeps the part about the masked man to himself. Naruto told his friends about his upcoming battle against Yagura. Hey guys, can I talk to you for a minute? Naruto. Shikamaru, Choji, and Shino glanced up from their tasks, noting the seriousness in Naruto's tone. What's up, Naruto? Shino. Naruto took a deep breath before speaking. I've decided to go to the Mist Village. Zabuza told me about this guy, Yagura, who's been causing a lot of trouble there. I want to help. Naruto. Shikamaru raised an eyebrow, assessing Naruto's determination. That sounds risky, Naruto. Are you sure about this? Shikamaru. Naruto nodded firmly, his eyes reflecting his unwavering resolve. Yeah, I've thought it through. It's the right thing to do. Naruto. Choji and Shino exchanged glances, silently acknowledging Naruto's commitment. We've got your back, Naruto. Choji. Naruto tells them they would not be joining him. Indeed, just be careful. Choji. With his friend's support bolstering his confidence, Naruto set his sights on the daunting journey ahead. The Leaf Ninja watched over Tazuna and his bridge workers as they diligently constructed the bridge. With Gato's death at Zabuza's hands, the bridge building proceeded without any further interference, ensuring a smoother process. During their downtime, the genin continued their training, preparing themselves for future missions and challenges. The week passed quickly, and soon enough, the bridge was complete. With the mission accomplished, the teams were ready to return to the Leaf Village. To show their gratitude, the people of the Land of Waves organized a grand party for the Leaf Ninja, celebrating their bravery and assistance in bringing hope and stability to the region. The celebration was filled with laughter, food, and heartfelt thanks, leaving a lasting impression on both the villagers and the ninja. The following morning, as the Leaf Ninja prepared to depart, the people of the Land of Waves gathered together to bid them farewell. The send-off was filled with cheers, well wishes, and promises to remember their courageous actions. The Leaf Ninja, with their mission successfully completed and their spirits uplifted by the gratitude shown by the villagers, began their journey back to the Leaf Village. As the Leaf Ninja began their journey back to the village, Naruto lingered behind, lost in thought. Finally, he decided to veer off on his own path. Kakashi, noticing Naruto's departure, called out, "Naruto, where are you going?" With a mischievous grin, Naruto replied, "Oh, I'm just going to pay the Tsuchikage a visit. It's about time I got revenge." The mention of the Tsuchikage brought a tense silence. The tale of Naruto losing his arm to the Tsuchikage's assassins was still fresh in everyone's minds. His comrades immediately voiced their concern. "Naruto, if you were to go to IWA, it wouldn't just be the Tsuchikage you'd have to face. You'd also be up against his elite ninja, and don't forget, they have 2 Jinchuriki." Asuma nodded in agreement. He's right. Naruto waved off their concerns with a dismissive hand. "I was just joking, relax." But as he spoke, his friends couldn't help but notice the veins popping on his forehead, a clear sign of his simmering anger. They exchanged worried glances, recognizing the determination in Naruto's eyes. It was clear to them that despite his words, Naruto's resolve was firm. Understanding the depth of Naruto's emotions, Kakashi sighed, "All right, Naruto, just be careful." Naruto gave a small nod, appreciating their understanding, and then turned away, his mind set on confronting the Mizukage. His friends watched him go, knowing that it was best not to try to stop him in his current state. They could only hope that Naruto's strength and resilience would see him through whatever lay ahead. Naruto made his way through the dense forests, eventually arriving at the rendezvous point where Zabuza and Haku awaited him. "Naruto," Zabuza greeted him with a nod, relief evident in his tone. Haku stepped forward, his calm demeanor contrasting with Zabuza's intensity. "Yagura's reign has brought nothing but suffering to our people. With your help, we believe we can free our village." Together, the trio began their journey towards the hidden Mist Village. Few days later, Naruto, Zabuza, and Haku moved like shadows through the mist, their stealth unparalleled as they infiltrated the hidden Mist Village. They approached Yagura's heavily guarded office, their steps soundless. Zabuza's voice was barely a whisper as he spoke, his gaze piercing through the darkness. "It's all up to you now," he said, his tone filled with both trust and urgency. Naruto nodded, his resolve firm. "Don't worry, I won't let you down." With a nod of understanding, Zabuza and Haku faded into the shadows, leaving Naruto to face the tyrant Mizukage alone. As Naruto stepped into the open, he unleashed his conqueror's Haki. An invisible wave of his willpower surged through the area, and Yagura's guards and the villagers fell unconscious. The air seemed to hum with Naruto's power, the atmosphere heavy with the presence of a true conqueror. Yagura emerged from his office, his eyes locking onto Naruto with a mixture of surprise and annoyance. "Who are you, and what is your reason for coming here?" he demanded, his voice carrying an unnatural edge. Naruto could sense it immediately, the faint, insidious thread of a genjutsu. Yagura's eyes, though fierce, held a glazed quality, as if his will was not entirely his own. Naruto's Haki had detected the underlying control. "I've come to free you from whoever is controlling you," Naruto declared, his voice resolute. Yagura's eyes narrowed, but he made no reply. Instead, he moved into a combat stance, his chakra flaring as he prepared to engage. Naruto knew there would be no reasoning with him until the fight was over. In a blink of an eye, Naruto closed the distance between them. Before Yagura could react, Naruto grabbed him by the face, his grip like iron. With a powerful burst of speed and strength, Naruto leapt into the air, dragging Yagura along with him. They soared over the village, the rooftops and streets blurring beneath them. Naruto aimed for an open area on the outskirts of the village, far from any potential casualties. With a thundering crash, he landed, slamming Yagura into the ground and creating a crater from the impact. Yagura quickly recovered, pushing himself to his feet with a snarl. "How dare you?" he growled, his voice echoing with the power of the Three Tails. The battle began in earnest. Yagura launched a series of rapid water release techniques. A massive water dragon surged towards Naruto, its maw open wide. Naruto, moving with incredible speed, dodged to the side, his saber flashing as he deflected the attack with a burst of wind release. "Water Dragon Bullet," Yagura called out, summoning another dragon of water, this time infused with more power. Naruto, now ready, infused his saber with wind chakra, slicing through the dragon with a single powerful stroke. Yagura didn't hesitate, using the moment to close the distance. He lashed out with his Coral Fist technique, aiming to kill Naruto. But Naruto's observation Haki predicted the move, and he evaded it effortlessly. As the coral shattered against the ground, Naruto countered with a slash of his wind-infused saber, the blade extending with razor-sharp wind chakra. Yagura barely managed to block with his own water chakra, but the force of the attack pushed him back. Realizing he needed more power, Yagura entered his tailed beast chakra cloak state. The red, bubbling chakra of the Three Tails enveloped him, enhancing his strength and speed. His next attacks came with the force of a hurricane, water bullets and tidal waves crashing towards Naruto. Naruto met these with a combination of his armament Haki and wind release. His blade sliced through the water with ease, his movements a blur of precision and power. He could feel the intensity of Yagura's assaults increasing, each strike carrying the weight of the tailed beast's chakra. Yagura decided to turn it up a notch. He transformed into his tailed beast version 2 form, becoming a humanoid version of the Three Tails. His power skyrocketed and he launched a tailed beast bomb at Naruto. The destructive sphere of chakra tore through the air with immense speed. Naruto gathered his strength, infusing his saber with both armament Haki and wind release. With a mighty swing, he unleashed a shockwave of wind that met the tailed beast bomb head-on. The explosion was deafening, the shockwave flattening the surrounding area. Emerging from the smoke, Naruto was relentless. His conqueror's Haki flared, the tendrils of his willpower striking at Yagura. Yagura's movements faltered, the force of Naruto's Haki beginning to break through the Genjutsu's hold. However, before Naruto could fully break the Genjutsu, Yagura let out a primal roar, fully transforming into Isabu, the Three Tails. The ground trembled as the massive turtle-like beast appeared, its 3 tails lashing violently. The battle continued with even greater intensity. Yagura's immense size and power were formidable, each swipe of its tails creating shockwaves and tearing the earth apart. Naruto, undeterred, infused his saber with wind chakra, his strikes sending out razor-sharp gusts of wind that sliced through the air. Yagura unleashed a torrent of water, attempting to drown Naruto in a maelstrom. Naruto countered with a powerful wind release technique, parting the water with a fierce gust. He moved with unparalleled speed, evading Yagura's attacks while delivering precise strikes to its colossal form. Yagura then combined his water attacks with wind, creating devastating whirlpools and tornadoes of water that crashed towards Naruto. The power and versatility of these combined elements were overwhelming, but Naruto met them head-on with his own wind-infused strikes and Conqueror's Haki. Amidst the chaos, Yagura used the water mirror technique, creating a perfect replica of Naruto that moved and attacked with the same speed and power. Naruto found himself facing his own mirrored image, each attack perfectly countered. Realizing the danger, Naruto used his special ability, Killer of Observation Haki, to disable the clone's observation Haki. With the clone's predictive abilities nullified, Naruto infused his saber with even more wind chakra, his strikes becoming a blur of sharp gusts. He focused his observation Haki to predict the mirror clone's moves, eventually breaking through its defenses with a powerful slash that shattered the water mirror. Undeterred, Yagura continued to press the attack, his tails smashing into the ground and sending debris flying. In a desperate move, he launched a massive water release, water shark bullet technique. The gigantic water shark, infused with wind chakra, surged towards Naruto with terrifying speed. Naruto gathered all his strength, infusing his saber with both armament Haki and wind release. With a mighty swing, he unleashed a shockwave of wind that met the water shark head-on. The impact created a massive explosion of water and wind, the shockwave flattening the surrounding area. The battle between Naruto and Yagura had reached its peak. The air around them crackled with intense energy as Yagura gathered a massive amount of chakra. His eyes, full of fury and power, focused intently on Naruto. With a deep, resonating growl, Yagura unleashed his most powerful tailed beast bomb, a gigantic orb of chakra that glowed ominously, promising destruction. Naruto stood his ground, his eyes narrowed with determination. He pulled his sword back, channeling his formidable conqueror's Haki into the blade. The air around him thickened, filled with the raw intensity of his will. His Haki flared around him like an aura. As Yagura's tailed beast bomb hurtled towards him, Naruto swung his sword, infusing it with a powerful burst of wind release. The combination of wind release and his conqueror's Haki increased the power of divine departure. As he swung his sword, a massive wind-infused slash tore through the air, its force so powerful that it seemed to split the sky itself. The two attacks collided with a thunderous explosion that echoed across the hidden mist village. The clash of the tailed beast bomb and divine departure created a shockwave that shattered windows and rocked the very foundations of nearby structures. A brilliant light engulfed the battlefield as the two forces fought for divine departure, powered by Naruto's indomitable will and the sharpness of his wind release, began to overpower the tailed beast bomb. The wind-enhanced slash cut through the chakra orb, dispersing it into a shower of sparkling energy particles that rained down harmlessly around the light faded. Naruto stood amidst the settling dust, his sword still pointed forward, his body unyielding and strong. Yagura, reverted to his human form from the exhaustion and the break in his concentration, collapsed to his knees, stunned by the overwhelming force of Naruto's attack. As Yagura lay there, panting and dazed, the genjutsu's grip on him weakened. He looked up at Naruto, his vision clearing. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice regaining some of its clarity. Naruto sheathed his saber, his expression softening slightly. "Just someone who couldn't stand by and watch another man's will be stolen." As the last remnants of the genjutsu faded from Yagura's eyes, he realized the truth of Naruto's words. The battle was over, and the Mizukage was free from his unseen chains. Yagura felt despair. He had ruined the lives of his villagers. Even though he was manipulated, he still felt responsible. "I know my head isn't enough to make up for the pain I've caused," Yagura said, bowing his head. "I thank you for stopping me." Naruto told him taking the easy way out was cowardly. He told Yagura he should make things right with the village and atone. "I will leave my fate to the villagers," Yagura replied. Naruto sighed. "So do you know who placed that genjutsu on you?" "I don't know. All I know is that he wears a mask and has a Sharingan," Yagura answered. Naruto's eyes widened as he heard this. Kurama's voice echoed in Naruto's mind, filled with a deep, resonant anger. That man is the reason your parents died 13 years ago. Yagura could see the transformation in Naruto instantly. The look in his sent a chill down Yagura's spine. Few moments later, Zabuza, Haku, and the resistance, Miss Shinobi who opposed Yagura's rule, arrived at the scene of the battle. I knew you could do it, Zabuza said with a smirk. It can't be. Yagura was defeated by this boy. Mei thought, her eyes wide with disbelief. Chapter 12. The Hidden Truth and the Journey Home. In the hidden mist village, the air was thick with disbelief. Yagura, once a feared Mizukage, was kneeling in front of the villagers. The truth had finally come out. His brutal rule wasn't his own doing, but the result of a sinister genjutsu by an anonymous masked figure. Despite being a puppet in the grand scheme, Yagura took full responsibility for his actions. I leave my fate in your hands, he said, bowing his head in humility. Even if I was under someone else's control, the suffering I caused is real. If my life is what you seek in return, I will not resist. The villagers were caught in a whirlwind of emotions: anger, sadness, confusion. Many had lost loved ones during Yagura's reign, their pain still raw. Yet some began to grasp the depth of the situation. If a Jinchuriki and a Kage could be manipulated so easily, how could an ordinary ninja have stood a chance? Just as tensions threatened to boil over, Mei Terumi, a prominent rebel leader, stepped forward. I understand your pain, she said, her voice a blend of strength and empathy. But Yagura was not in control of himself. Even the formidable tailed beasts were helpless against that masked man's genjutsu. This was not a failure of will, it was an inescapable fate. Her words resonated with the crowd, and their agitated murmurs began to soften. An elderly villager stepped forward, leaning on his cane. Taking his life won't erase our pain, but it's true that he must atone. I propose a different punishment, not death, but duty. Yagura should spend his remaining days rebuilding what was lost. Let him protect this village, nurture its future, and ensure no such tragedy ever happens again. A wave of agreement spread through the villagers. Yagura looked up, astonished. You would allow me to atone? Mei nodded slightly. Redemption is not easy, but if you're truly willing, then prove it to us. Yagura bowed deeply. I swear it. With that, the tension that had gripped the village began to dissolve. Though scars would remain, the hidden mist had taken its first step toward healing. After the decision was made, Naruto had a final meeting with Yagura. With Kurama's help, the two Jinchuriki formed a powerful bond, a link allowing Naruto to feel Yagura's chakra no matter where he was. This link also established that they could meet in their mindscapes. If the masked man tried to control Yagura again, Naruto would know. This will make sure no one ever pulls that kind of stunt on you again, Naruto said, arms crossed confidently. If he does, I'll be at your doorstep before he even knows what hit him. Yagura chuckled, shaking his head in amusement. You are an interesting one, Naruto Uzumaki. I owe you more than I can ever repay. Naruto grinned. Then make sure this village doesn't fall into darkness again. That's payment enough. With their connection secured, Naruto bid farewell to Yagura, Zabuza, and Haku. Zabuza smirked. You better not get yourself killed before we meet again, brat. Naruto smirked right back. I should be saying that to you, old man. Haku offered a small bow. Thank you, Naruto, for everything. Naruto waved as he turned to leave. Next time, let's meet as friends, not as rebels or shinobi, but just as people. With that, Naruto set off, leaving the land of water behind him. Naruto's journey back to Konoha was interrupted. As he made his way back, a group of rogue ninja blocked his path. The rogue ninja looked at him with greedy eyes, seeing him as an opportunity for profit. Naruto made short work of them. Naruto encountered IWA ninja also. The IWA nin were different. Their leader, a tall man with a jagged scar on his nose, stepped forward with narrowed eyes. Lord Tsuchikage has ordered that you are not to be harmed, but don't mistake that for leniency. Naruto tilted his head slightly, his expression unreadable. Then, with a smirk, he took a step forward, his presence suddenly overwhelming. The air seemed to thicken, as if gravity itself had increased. The ninja stumbled back, fear evident in their eyes. "Tell Inoki this," Naruto said, his voice carrying undeniable authority. "One day I will come for him. When that day comes, he will answer for what he did to me." With a final surge of Conqueror's Haki, the weaker ninja collapsed, unconscious. The others, their pride forcing them to remain standing, clenched their fists but said nothing. They simply took their comrades and retreated, leaving Naruto alone once more. Naruto exhaled, rolling his shoulders. Well, that should keep them from trying anything stupid for a while. With that, he continued his journey home. Return to Konoha. When Naruto finally arrived at the village gates, he was welcomed by the familiar faces of Izumo and Kotetsu, the two Chunin gatekeepers. Well, if it isn't our favorite red-haired menace," Izumo said with a grin. Kotetsu smirked. "Did you bring us souvenirs? Or did you just bring trouble?" Naruto chuckled. "You two wouldn't be able to handle what I brought back." With a nod of acknowledgement, they let him through, and Naruto headed straight to the Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi looked up as Naruto entered, his expression unreadable. "Naruto, I assume, given your return, that you were successful." Naruto nodded. "Yagura is free. He was being controlled." Hiruzen's expression darkened. "Explain." Naruto recounted everything, the masked man's involvement in the Nine-Tails attack, his manipulation of Yagura, and his own brief encounter with the enigmatic figure. "I fought him before I knew any of this," Naruto admitted. "Back then, I couldn't sense him at all, like he didn't exist, and no matter how fast I couldn't land a hit. It was only when he decided to leave with Kisame that I finally got a read on his presence." Hiruzen's face was grim. He leaned back in his chair, eyes clouded with thought. "The masked man," he muttered, bitterness in his voice. "He has caused more suffering than we could have ever imagined. My wife, Biwako, was among those he killed that night." Naruto remained silent, his fists clenching slightly. Hiruzen exhaled, his gaze hardening. "This man is not just an enemy of Konoha. He is a threat to the entire world. If what you say is true, then he is more dangerous than we realized. I fear we have only glimpsed the surface of his power." Naruto met the Hokage's gaze. "Then I'll stop him, no matter what." Hiruzen studied the boy before him, the fire in his eyes, the conviction in his stance. He didn't see the lazy child, but a warrior forged through struggle. Finally, he nodded. "Then we must prepare." As the weight of the conversation settled over them, one thing was certain: the storm was far from over. And Naruto Uzumaki was ready for war. Chapter 13. The Road to IWA. The weeks passed in a blur of missions and training. Life in Konoha continued as usual, but beneath the surface, tension simmered. The announcement of the upcoming Chunin exams sent the village's genin into a frenzy of preparation. This time, however, the exams would not be held in the familiar grounds of Konoha or in the village of their allies. This year, the Chunin exams would be held in Iwagakure. As soon as the news was shared, an uncomfortable silence filled the training grounds where Team 7, Team 8, and Team 10 had gathered. Everyone's eyes slowly drifted toward Naruto. Naruto, as always, was lounging against a tree, his saber resting against his waist. He had one leg propped up, the quintessential lazy slacker, but the slight upward curve of his lips betrayed his true thoughts. The memories of what IWA had done to him, what they had tried to take from him, were not forgotten by his friends. Shikamaru, hands in his pockets, sighed. How troublesome. Choji, usually content munching on a bag of chips, paused mid-chew. IWA, huh? Shino adjusted his glasses. Even Ino, who usually enjoyed teasing Naruto, frowned. IWA is dangerous. There's no way they'd just let Naruto walk in without trying something. Sakura glanced at Naruto, concerned. You don't have to go, you know? Kakashi, Asuma, and Kurenai stood back, observing their students. It was clear that their genin understood the risks. Kakashi, flipping through his book, finally spoke. There's no shame in waiting for the next exams. We don't need to provoke unnecessary trouble. Naruto exhaled through his nose, finally opening one eye. Man, you guys sure worry a lot. Everyone braced themselves, knowing what was coming. Naruto grinned. Of course I'm going. A collective sigh rippled through the group. Shikamaru rubbed the bridge of his nose. I knew it. Choji groaned, shoving another handful of chips in his mouth. I should have bet money on that. Kiba huffed. Seriously, Naruto? Naruto sat up, stretching his arms behind his head. It's been a while since I've seen my old pals. His voice dripped with sarcasm. Can't wait to see their faces during our reunion. His words sent a shiver through some of the genin. Konoha's younger generation had always known Naruto as the lazy, smiling slacker who rarely got serious. But they also knew the truth. When Naruto actually decided to act, he was terrifying. Shikamaru sighed again. Well, if Naruto's going, then I guess I'll have to go too. Can't have him making a mess and forcing me to clean it up. Choji pounded a fist into his palm. Yeah, if Naruto's in, I'm in. Shino simply nodded. I will accompany you, my friend. Hinata, silent until now, took a deep breath before speaking. I will go too. Kiba grinned, slapping her back. That's the spirit, Hinata. I'm going too. Akamaru and I won't miss this. Ino, clearly annoyed, groaned. I guess if you boys are going, I have to go. Someone has to keep you idiots in check. Sakura sighed, shaking her head. You're all crazy. Then, after a pause, she smirked. But fine, I'll go too. Shikamaru looked around at the assembled group and sighed once more. Looks like everyone's in. Sasuke, who remained silent, had one single thought in mind. He was going to make the other villages acknowledge him. The sensei exchanged glances. Kakashi was unreadable behind his mask. Asuma scratched his chin. Kurenai's expression was contemplative. Asuma exhaled. Well, I suppose we'll have to report this to the Hokage. The day before their departure, Hiruzen Sarutobi summoned Kakashi, Asuma, Kurenai, and Guy to his office. Smoke curled from his pipe as he gazed at them seriously. So they've all chosen to go, he murmured. Asuma nodded. Even after hearing the risks, they still want to participate. Kurenai added, they're determined, especially Naruto. Hiruzen closed his eyes for a moment before exhaling. I expected nothing less. He opened them again, looking at each jonin with piercing intensity. I'm assigning you all a crucial task. Protect your genin at all costs. You will be in enemy territory. Do not trust anyone. If anything unusual happens, you are to act immediately. The jonin all nodded firmly. No matter what, Guy said, we will protect our students. The morning of their departure, Naruto stood on a high rooftop, staring out at the gates of Konoha. A lazy breeze played with his red hair as he leaned against the railing. He could feel it in his bones. This trip was going to be fun. Naruto was never one to hold grudges. The way the villagers of Konoha had treated him as a child, he had never let it weigh him down. He had smiled through it all. But IWA? IWA had crossed a line. They had sent assassins after him when he was just a kid. They had tried to kill him and his friends. Naruto grinned, but this time, it wasn't his usual lazy, carefree smile. Oh, Inoki, I'm coming for you. Far away, deep within the Tsuchikige's office in Iwagakure, Inoki sat reviewing paperwork. He adjusted his back, grumbling about old age when a chill ran down his spine. Inoki frowned, his wrinkled fingers tightening around his brush. He looked up, narrowing his eyes. That feeling again? The morning air of Konoha was crisp as the Rookie 9. Now officially the Konoha contingent for the IWA Chunin exams, gathered at the main gate. They were soon joined by Team Guy, a whirlwind of youthful energy and intensity. Yash, my youthful rivals from Konoha, Might Guy announced, his smile bright enough to rival the sun, his fist pumped in the air. Let the springtime of our youth burn brightly in the heart of Iwagakure. Rock Lee mirrored his sensei's enthusiasm, his eyes sparkling. Indeed, Guy-sensei, we shall show them the full power of our hard work and dedication. He then caught sight of Naruto. Naruto-kun, it is good to see you embarking on this challenge with us. Tenten offered a friendly wave. Hey guys, try not to cause too much trouble, okay? She said, though her eyes held a spark of excitement. Niji Hyuga, however, remained aloof, his arms crossed, his Byakugan-enhanced gaze sweeping over the assembled genin. His eyes paused, almost imperceptibly, on Naruto. He noted the missing left arm. So this is Naruto Uzumaki, Niji thought, a flicker of disdain crossing his usually impassive features. Heard he dropped out of the academy once. Lost his arm in unknown incident. Fate has clearly dealt him a poor hand. A loser trying to play at being a shinobi. Niji, unaware of Naruto's true power or the circumstances of his injury, filed him away as inconsequential, another obstacle easily overcome by destiny. Naruto, oblivious or simply uncaring of Niji's internal judgment, offered a lazy wave to Lee. Yo, bushy brows, let's try not to break IWA too much. The journey to Awagakure was long, traversing rugged, mountainous terrain that spoke of the Earth Country's hardy nature. Upon arrival, they were met with the imposing sight of the village carved into the very rock, and a line of genin teams from various nations snaking its way towards the heavily guarded entrance. The air was thick with anticipation and the subtle undercurrent of inter-village rivalries. As the Konoha teams approached the checkpoint, the IWA guards, burly men with stern faces, tensed. Their eyes, however, lingered on Naruto, a flicker of recognition and something akin to apprehension in their gazes. Whispers had undoubtedly circulated after the last encounter with the Konoha redhead. They remembered Inoki's stern warning. That one is not to be trifled with. Observe, but do not engage unnecessarily. Naruto, sensing their unease, merely offered a slow, deliberate smirk that didn't quite reach his eyes, a silent acknowledgement of their silent scrutiny. The guards stiffened but let them pass without incident, their relief evident. Further into the village, amidst the throng of visiting shinobi, a familiar voice called out, well, if it isn't the Konoha brats." Zabuza Momochi leaned against a stone pillar, Haku standing quietly beside him. With them were Chojuro, looking as nervous as ever clutching Hiramakerii, and Saya Koreha, whose violet eyes immediately fixed on Naruto with an unnerving, analytical intensity. "Zabuza, Haku?" Naruto greeted with a nod, his smirk softening into something more genuine. "Fancy meeting you here. Decided to let your little ducklings test their wings." Zabuza grunted. "Someone has to make sure these kids don't embarrass Kiri too much." "Chojuro, Saya, this is Naruto Uzumaki. Try not to stare too much, Saya. It's rude." Saya's gaze didn't waver, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on her lips. "It is merely observation, Zabuza-sama. One must understand the competition." Her eyes lingered on Naruto's single arm, then his sword, a silent calculation taking place. Chojuro, meanwhile, stammered a greeting. "En Naruto-san, it's, an honor to meet you." He seemed genuinely pleased but also intimidated by the presence of Kiri's recent hero. Haku offered a polite bow. "Naruto-kun, we wish you and your comrades success in the exams." Skipping the first phase. Scene transitions to a lit cavern, holographic projections of the Akatsuki members flickering into existence. Pain's projection, impassive and authoritative, addressed the assembly. "The Chunin exams in Iwagakure have commenced. It presents opportunities." Daidara's voice, full of artistic fervor, crackled. "Yeah, a whole village packed with shinobi. A grand stage for my art to truly explode. Sasori's projection remained still. "Do not be reckless, Daidara. Inoki is not to be underestimated. However, Pain is correct. Several Jinchuriki are reported to be present." Konan added, her voice calm and steady. "The 1 tails of Suna, the 2 tails of Kumo, the 7 tails of Taki, and of course, the 9 tails of Konoha." Itachi Uchiha's projection was silent, his gaze unreadable. Kisame Hashigaki let out a guttural chuckle, the sound like rocks grinding together. "Speaking of the 9 tails, don't take him lightly. The brat gave me a real fight back in the land of waves." His holographic grin was wide and predatory. "Fights like a seasoned swordsman with the spirit of an old demon. He's a monster." Haydn cackled maniacally. "A monster, you say? Perfect. I'll tear him limb from limb and offer his screaming soul to the great Lord Jashin." Kakuzu's projection shifted slightly, his voice a low rumble. "Haydn, you fool. A Jinchuriki is a vessel for the tailed beast. We need them alive for the extraction. Your ridiculous ritual is useless to the organization's goals." "What did you say, you cheap bastard?" Haiden shrieked. Lord Jashin's rituals are the only thing that matters. Kisame's chuckle cut through their bickering. Even if you could, Haiden, I doubt you'd find it easy. The kid's got a presence about him. It's overwhelming. You'd be on your knees before you could even use your scythe. Zetsu's dual-toned voice added its strange perspective. The Ninetales container is dangerous. White Zetsu began, sounding almost nervous. His senses are abnormally sharp. Direct observation is ill-advised. Black Zetsu's voice finished, cold and flat. He was aware of my surveillance. A confrontation should be avoided until absolutely necessary. This statement brought a brief, rare silence to the group. For Zetsu, the organization's ultimate spy, to admit being detected and to advise avoidance was unprecedented and spoke volumes about Naruto's capabilities. Pain raised a hand, his voice cutting through the newfound tension with absolute authority. His awareness changes nothing. The power of the tailed beasts will belong to Akatsuki. His tone left no room for debate. We will move on Iwagakure. Itachi spoke for the first time, his voice calm and measured, yet carrying an undeniable weight. A direct assault on a great village during the Chunin exams, with other Kage and their elite likely present, is a significant risk. It could trigger a full-scale war before our preparations are complete. Pain's gaze shifted to Itachi, his Rinnegan seeming to pierce through the hologram. War? The world will know Pain soon enough. Their preparations are irrelevant. A god does not fear the machinations of mortals. He paused, his gaze sweeping over the others. However, a demonstration of our power is more effective than a premature war. We will infiltrate, secure the Jinchuriki. Let the world see that not even a Kage can protect what is ours. Deidara, Pain commanded. You know the terrain of your former village. You and Sasori will be the vanguard. Create a diversion. Draw Inoki's attention. Deidara's grin was manic. Finally, a real mission. They will witness true art, yeah. Pain continued. The rest of you will receive your assignments. Failure is not an option. Move out. The holograms flickered and disappeared one by one, leaving only silence in the cavern. The plan was set. The hunt in Iwagakure was about to begin, not with a subtle observation, but with a direct, audacious assault. Kisame's projection was one of the last to fade, his thoughts lingering on his last battle. He knew this mission would be anything but simple. The stage is set for a very eventful Chunin exams. Chapter 15. The Granddaughter and the Glare. The air in the gauntlet of the Shattered Peaks was thin and sharp. The moment the second phase began, a palpable tension settled over the rocky expanse. From their starting positions, the genin from IWA and Kiri cast sidelong glances towards the Konoha contingent, their eyes inevitably drawn to the lazy, one-armed redhead. The IWA nin watched with a mixture of ingrained animosity and wary curiosity. The Kiri shinobi, Jin, Rin, and the unervingly calm Saya, observed him with analytical intensity, eager to measure the reality against the legend. As Team 7 navigated a narrow canyon, the silence between them was finally broken by Sasuke. The memory of Naruto's overwhelming power during their training and against Zabuza had been gnawing at him. He needed to understand. Naruto, Sasuke began, his tone direct, refusing to beat around the bush. That power you use, how you turn your arm and your sword black. And that aura, the one that feels like it's crushing you. What is it? Sakura's head snapped towards them, her own curiosity piqued. She too had felt that suffocating pressure during the duel with Hayate. Naruto, walking a few steps ahead, didn't turn around. It's called Haki, he stated simply. It's the manifestation of a person's willpower. There are 3 main types. He paused, his head tilting slightly as if listening to something only he could hear. The first is observation Haki. It lets you sense the presence and intent of others. With enough training, it allows you to see a little bit into the future, to predict. His voice cut off. In his mind's eye, a vivid, horrifying image flashed. The very ground they stood on erupting, a torrent of molten rock surging through the canyon, consuming everything. To predict this, he finished. Without another word, Naruto spun around. Up, now, he commanded. He slammed his hand on the ground, and a powerful gust of wind erupted from beneath them, a controlled updraft that lifted the 3 of them into the air, carrying them towards the canyon's rim just as the world below turned orange. Seconds later, a churning wave of lava flooded the canyon floor, hissing and popping as it instantly incinerated the very spot where they had been standing. The intense heat washed over them even from their safe vantage point. Sakura gasped, her eyes wide with terror. Sasuke stared down at the molten river, his Sharingan spinning as he processed how close they had been to instant annihilation. Naruto, however, was already looking towards a nearby cliff edge. His gaze was sharp, all traces of his usual laziness gone. "You can come out now," he called out, his voice echoing in the sudden silence. "Your little welcome party was impressive, but you missed." 3 figures emerged from behind a cluster of boulders. The leader, a kunoichi with short black hair and confident pink eyes, smirked at them. Beside her stood the towering Akatsuki and another stern-faced Iwanin. "Well now," the kunoichi said, her voice dripping with arrogant confidence. "You're not half bad. To sense my lava release and our presence on top of it. I'm impressed." Naruto landed softly on the cliff edge, his teammates touching down beside him. He ignored her compliment. "We have no reason to fight," he said, his tone even. "This is a test with a 3-day time limit. We should focus on the objective. After the second phase is over, we can settle whatever this is." The kunoichi, Kuratsuchi, let out a chuckle, a sound that grated on Naruto's ears. "That's where you're wrong. My objective is you. Honestly, I don't get it. I can't understand for the life of me why Gramps is so afraid of a one-armed brat from Konoha." Naruto's eye twitched. "Gramps!" The other Iwanin puffed out his chest with pride. "You're in the presence of royalty, Konoha scum. This is Lady Kuratsuchi, granddaughter of the esteemed 3rd Tsuchikage, Lord Inoki." A vein visibly pulsed on Naruto's forehead. Sakura and Sasuke tensed, recognizing the telltale sign of his irritation boiling over into genuine anger. The lazy, smiling boy was gone, replaced by something far more dangerous. "Kuratsuchi," Naruto said, his voice dropping low, losing all its previous warmth. "Leave, now." He took a half-step forward. "I'm not one to punish people for the crimes of their family. Your grandfather's actions are his own." His glare intensified, an immense pressure beginning to emanate from him. "But if you don't walk away right now, I promise you, you may not live to see another day." Kuratsuchi's smirk faltered slightly, a flicker of unease in her eyes as she felt that oppressive aura. But her pride wouldn't let her back down. She remembered her grandfather's words, the stern warning, "Do not attack or approach Naruto Uzumaki. If he attacks first, you are within your rights to defend yourselves. But you are forbidden from killing him." Forbidden from killing him, she thought, a malicious idea forming. But he didn't say anything about maiming. She regained her composure, her arrogant smirk returning. "Oh, I think I'll stick around. Since Gramps is so worried about you, I'll be doing him a favor." Her hands began to form a seal. "I'll spare your life," she declared, her eyes gleaming with cruel intent. "But I think I'll melt off a few of those remaining limbs first." The air crackled with tension, a battle forged from old wounds and new pride about to erupt in the heart of the shattered peaks. Chapter 16. Will of the Conqueror, Pride of the Stone. The air in the shattered peaks grew heavy. Kuratsuchi's declaration, dripping with the arrogant cruelty of a predator toying with its prey, hung between them. Naruto's glare didn't waver. The veins on his forehead pulsed in time with a slow, simmering rage. This wasn't just a Chunin exam fight anymore. It was a confrontation born from a grudge Iwa had started years ago. "You talk big for someone who hides behind sneak attacks," Naruto said, his voice a low growl. His right hand rested on the hilt of his saber, not drawing it, but the promise was there. "It's called strategy, brat," Kuratsuchi retorted, a sphere of viscous, molten rock beginning to form in her cupped hands. Something a reckless fool from Konoha wouldn't understand. "Akatsuki, Gansiki, box him in," she commanded. "I want to see how well he dodges when he has nowhere to run." Akatsuki, a mountain of a man, let out a grunt of acknowledgement. He slammed his palms together, his chakra surging. Earth release, golem technique. The ground before him churned, and a massive, hulking figure of solid rock erupted from the earth, its stony eyes fixed on Naruto. With a deafening roar, the golem charged, its fists large enough to pulverize boulders. Simultaneously, Gansiki melted into the earth. Sasuke's Sharingan tracked his chakra signature as it zipped through the earth. Suddenly, Gansiki reappeared behind Team 7. He stomped his foot hard on the ground. Earth release, rock spike field. In an instant, the entire area around Sakura and Sasuke erupted with a forest of razor-sharp stone spikes. The attack was brutally fast, designed to isolate Naruto by forcing his teammates into a defensive, stationary position, unable to maneuver or offer support. "Sakura, stay put. Don't move," Sasuke yelled, his eyes darting around the treacherous ground. Naruto didn't even glance back. He knew his teammates were pinned. His focus was entirely on the charging golem. "So this is how you fight?" Naruto mused aloud, a dangerous calm settling over him. As the golem's massive fist descended, aiming to smash him into paste, Naruto didn't dodge. Instead, his right arm, from his fingertips to his shoulder, turned a lustrous obsidian black. Armament Haki. He met the golem's fist with his own. The impact was not the thunderous crash of rock on flesh everyone expected. It was a sharp, resonating crack, like the world itself was fracturing. A shock wave erupted from the point of contact, kicking up a massive cloud of dust. The golem's entire arm, a solid construct of earth and chakra, spiderwebbed with cracks before exploding into 1,000 pieces of gravel. The stone giant staggered back, its balance thrown. Akatsuki's eyes widened in disbelief. What? He shattered it? With one punch? Before the dust even settled, Naruto moved. He vanished from his spot, reappearing directly in front of the golem's chest. "You're in the way," he said coldly. He drove his Haki-coated fist forward again. The golem's torso imploded, and the once mighty construct crumbled into a heap of useless rubble. From the other side of the canyon, Kuratsuchi launched her attack. Lava release, molten globule. She fired a series of large, searing projectiles of lava that flew through the air like meteors. Naruto, his observation Haki screaming warnings, flowed through the barrage. He didn't just dodge. He moved with an impossible grace, weaving between the molten spheres as if he knew their trajectory moments before they were even launched. He was a red-haired blur against the gray rock, untouched by the blistering heat. "My turn," Naruto announced, his voice echoing from a new position atop a narrow rock pillar. He drew his saber. The blade hummed as he channeled his will into it. "Akagami, red hair." He thrust the saber forward, and an invisible shockwave of pure concussive force erupted from the tip of the blade. It wasn't ninjutsu. It was a physical manifestation of his Haki. Akatsuki, seeing the attack aimed at Kuratsuchi, moved with surprising speed for his size. He put himself in the path, his hands forming a seal. Earth release, golem technique. He created a smaller, but incredibly dense golem shield in front of himself. The shockwave from Akagami slammed into the shield. The golem didn't shatter this time, but it was blasted backwards, dragging Akatsuki with it several meters before he could dig his heels in, the rock beneath his feet groaning in protest. "He's strong, Kuratsuchi." Akatsuki grunted, his arms straining. "Don't just stand there, Gansiki. Pin him down," she shrieked, frustrated that her target was so mobile. Gansiki, ever the professional, had already repositioned himself. He slammed his palms onto the rock pillar Naruto was standing on. Earth release, stone lodging. Dense, powerful clamps of rock shot up from the pillar's surface, aiming to snap shut around Naruto's ankles and immobilize him. But Naruto was already gone. He had leapt high into the air, his single arm pulling his saber back. Red and black lightning began to crackle around him, his conqueror's Haki flaring to life. The sky above them seemed to darken, the pressure in the air becoming immense. "Let me show you a real rock technique," Naruto called down, his voice resonating with power. "Shin Sekai no Ichigeki, strike for the new world." He raised his Haki-infused saber high, and the red lightning coalesced around the blade before lancing downwards, striking the ground all around Team IWA. The earth erupted. It wasn't a lava flow. It was a cataclysm. The entire cliff face they stood on shuddered and began to break apart. As the IWAneans struggled to keep their footing amidst the chaos, Naruto descended, His blade wreathed in a terrifying black aura as he finished the technique with a devastating forward slash. A wave of pure destructive energy, visible as a distortion in the air, tore through the landscape. Gensiki, the quickest to react, created a thick earth wall to protect Kuratsuchi. Akatsuki reinforced it with his own chakra. The shockwave hit them and their defense held, but just barely. The wall cracked violently, and both men were sent stumbling back. Sasuke watched from his position, trapped by the rock spikes, his Sharingan spinning frantically as he tried to absorb every detail. This is the power he's been hiding. It's on another level entirely. Naruto landed, his saber resting on his shoulder. The entire landscape had been altered. The canyon was wider, new chasms had formed, and the cliff they fought on was a fractured mess. "I warned you," Naruto said, his voice calm again. "This is your last chance. Walk away." Kuratsuchi's face was a mask of fury and humiliation. Her pride as the Tsuchikige's granddaughter would not allow for this. She had been utterly dominated. "Don't you dare look down on IWA!" she screamed, her chakra flaring wildly. She slapped her hands on the ground. Earth release, sandwich technique. It was a technique of immense scale. Two colossal walls of rock, larger than anything they had summoned before, began to rise from the canyon floor on either side of Naruto, aiming to crush him between them. Akatsuki, seeing her use such a powerful and chakra-intensive jutsu, moved to support it. "I'll add my strength, Kuratsuchi." Naruto watched the two massive rock formations close in, casting him in shadow. He sighed, a sound of weary disappointment. "You really don't listen, do you?" He jabbed his saber, Griffin, into the ground at his feet. Kaizoku no Takami-e, to the heights of piracy. Red lightning, more intense than before, erupted from the sword, not into the air, but into the very earth beneath him. The ground exploded outwards in a 360-degree wave of force and conqueror's haki. The rising rock walls, immense as they were, shuddered as their foundations were shattered from below. They began to crumble before they could even meet. Then, in a single fluid motion, Naruto swung his saber horizontally. A massive burst of his will, a pure wave of conqueror's haki, washed over the three IWNen. Gensiki was the first to fall. His eyes rolled back into his head, and he collapsed, unconscious, the sheer spiritual pressure too much for him to handle. Akatsuki, the powerhouse, dropped to one knee, his whole body trembling. He was fighting it, his sheer physical fortitude and willpower keeping him conscious, but he was completely incapacitated, gasping for air. Kuratsuchi was still standing, but only just. Her legs were shaking violently, sweat poured down her face, and her vision was blurry. She felt a terror so profound it bypassed all her pride and arrogance. It was the primal fear of a small creature standing before a true, apex predator. She was looking at a king. Naruto walked slowly towards her, his footsteps echoing in the now silent canyon. He stopped a few feet away, his shadow falling over her. "Let's be clear," he said, his voice devoid of anger now, replaced by an unshakable, cold authority. "This was never a fight. This was a lesson. Your grandfather sent assassins to murder me when I was a child. He made it personal when the assassins tried to murder my friends. The only reason you are still breathing is because I choose not to hold you accountable for his sins." He raised his saber, the tip glowing faintly. "Go back to your gramps. Tell him I'm coming. And when I do, this little lesson will seem like a fond memory." He sheathed his sword. The oppressive pressure vanished instantly. Kuratsuchi collapsed to her knees, finally able to breathe, her body trembling uncontrollably. Naruto turned and walked back towards his teammates. With a casual stomp, the rock spikes trapping Sasuke and Sakura retracted back into the earth as if they were never there. "You two all right?" he asked, his lazy grin returning as if nothing had happened. Sasuke just stared, speechless. Sakura nodded weakly, her mind still reeling from the sheer scale of destruction and power she had just witnessed. The strongest team from Iwagakure had been dismantled, not just defeated, but utterly broken. And Naruto hadn't even looked like he was trying. Chapter 17, Lessons and Challenges. Interlude: The Serpent in the Stones. While Genin battled for supremacy and survival in the gauntlet of the Shattered Peaks, other, More sinister events were unfolding in the canyon's forgotten corners. A team of genin from Kusagakyur, the village hidden in the grass, huddled together behind a rocky outcrop. They had managed to secure one tablet fragment and were now desperately trying to navigate towards the second checkpoint, their nerves frayed by the harsh environment and the tension of the exam. "Did you hear that?" The youngest of the trio, a boy named Ryota, whispered, his eyes wide with fear. It sounded like the mountains were collapsing over that way. The team leader, a stoic girl named Hannah, put a finger to her lips. "Stay quiet. It's probably just one of the powerhouse teams. We need to stay low and avoid them at all costs. Our goal is to pass, not to pick fights we can't win." Their third member, Kenji, was clutching their precious fragment. "Hannah's right. We just need to find 2 more checkpoints and get to the outpost. We can do this." A soft, sibilant voice echoed from the shadows behind them, smooth as silk and cold as a grave. "Oh, I'm afraid you won't be doing much of anything anymore." Before they could even turn, a shadow moved with impossible speed. There was a faint hiss, a flash of pale skin, and the sickeningly wet sound of a sword meeting flesh. Ryota and Kenji fell without a sound, their eyes wide with a surprise that would be etched on their faces for eternity. Hannah spun around, her own kunai drawn, her face a mask of horror. Standing there, wiping a blood-splattered blade on his sleeve, was a man with long, black hair and golden, slitted eyes that promised a world of pain. His tongue darted out, licking a drop of blood from his lips. "Such promising youth," Orochimaru mused, his smile utterly devoid of warmth. "It's almost a shame, almost." Hannah opened her mouth to scream, but a hand shot out, impossibly long, and clamped around her throat. Her last sensation was the feeling of suffocating evil and those terrible, snake-like eyes staring into her soul. A few moments later, 3 figures walked out from behind the rocks. They wore the headbands and attire of the fallen grass genin. He held up the stone fragment. "Now, let's see what this little exam has to offer. I have a particular interest in observing a few special candidates." His golden eyes, hidden behind a genjutsu, gleamed with malevolent curiosity. He had heard whispers from his network about the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, rumors of unusual power, of a Konoha outsider who had single-handedly resolved a crisis in the hidden mist. Such stories were often exaggerated, but where there was smoke, there was often a fire worthy of investigation. His primary interest remained Sasuke Uchiha, but Naruto Uzumaki was becoming a variable too intriguing to ignore. Elsewhere in the gauntlet, another Konoha team moved with quiet, unassuming efficiency. Kabuto Yakushi, leading Yoroi and Misumi, had used his information and keen sense of strategy to keep them far from the initial chaos, opting to observe from a distance. "Let's find a high vantage point and see who they target. We can gather information without engaging." Kabuto. Following his lead, they found a concealed position high on the canyon wall, giving them a perfect, unobstructed view of the events below. They arrived just in time to see Kuratsuchi launch her lava release ambush at Team 7. What followed left Yoroi and Misumi breathless, their minds struggling to comprehend what they were seeing. They watched as Naruto effortlessly dodged the lava, shattered a massive stone golem with a single, black-sheathed punch, and altered the very landscape with a casual swing of his sword. Then came the final wave of pressure. Even from their hiding spot hundreds of meters away, they felt it. A suffocating, invisible force that made their lungs tighten and their instincts scream at them to run. They saw the IWA team, a formidable group led by a Kage's granddaughter, crumble. One collapsed instantly, another was forced to his knees, and the leader was left trembling, completely broken. Misumi, the contortionist who relied on physically overpowering his targets, felt a cold dread seep into his bones. His body, it didn't even move like a normal person's. That strength, it's not just chakra. The IWA's golem just shattered against his fist. And that pressure, what was that? Couldn't even breathe right. He subconsciously checked his own limbs, a shiver running down his spine at the thought of trying to wrap himself around a monster like that. Yoroi, whose entire fighting style was based on getting close and draining an opponent's chakra, was having a similar crisis. My jutsu is useless against him, he realized, his usual confidence completely gone. I'd have to touch him to drain his chakra, but that punch. He didn't even use a jutsu. It was just him. If I got that close, he wouldn't need a jutsu to kill me. He'd just break me. Kabuto, however, watched with a completely different kind of intensity. His glasses flashed, reflecting the scene of devastation below. His mild-mannered facade was still in place, but behind it, his mind was a whirlwind of frantic, exhilarating analysis. Unbelievable, Kabuto whispered, his voice a barely audible hiss of pure fascination. He didn't use a single hand seal for that counterpunch. The black coloration on his arm, it's not an elemental coating. It's a manifestation, a reinforcement of his own physical being through sheer spiritual energy. He guessed. He watched as Naruto's Haki wave washed over the IWA team. And that wasn't a genjutsu. It wasn't ninjutsu at all. It was a direct assertion of dominance. A spiritual attack that bypasses physical and chakra-based defenses entirely. To project one's spirit with such force that it incapacitates elite shinobi. Incredible. A slow, chilling smile spread across Kabuto's face, a look his stunned teammates didn't notice. The rumors from Kiri were understatements, he murmured to himself, pushing his glasses up his nose. This isn't the power of the Nine Tails. This is his power. Something entirely new. A power that could rival a Kekkei Genkai, or perhaps even surpass it. He looked down at the red-haired boy who was now casually walking back to his team as if he'd just finished a light warm-up. Forget the data cards, Kabuto concluded, his voice filled with a newfound, fervent purpose. Lord Orochimaru must see this for himself. The Uchiha is a prize to be claimed. But Naruto Uzumaki, he is an entirely new field of science, a phenomenon, and I will be the one to dissect him. His mission objective had irrevocably shifted. Passing the exam was now a triviality. He now had to create the perfect stage, the perfect set of circumstances, to force Naruto to display this power again, all for the benefit of his master's hungry, golden eyes. The silence in the canyon was heavy, broken only by the shallow, ragged breaths of the defeated Iwanin. Naruto stood over his teammates, the oppressive pressure that had dominated the battlefield vanishing as if it were a switch he'd flipped. He had been aware of them for some time now. A third party hidden high on the canyon wall, observing everything. His observation Haki had picked them out easily, their chakra signatures distinct from the IWA teams. But it was the feeling he got from their leader that put him on edge, a cold, clinical curiosity, a greed for knowledge directed at both him and Sasuke. It was the feeling of a scientist watching a specimen. He didn't like being watched like that. Naruto's head turned, his gaze fixing on a distant, seemingly empty patch of rock. His eyes narrowed into a piercing glare. Then, with a flicker of his will, he launched 8 small, concentrated projectiles of pure Conqueror's Haki. They weren't destructive like his larger attacks. They were sharp, focused needles of spiritual pressure designed to deliver a message. High above, Kabuto's eyes went wide behind his glasses. He felt it before he saw it. An immense, terrifying pressure zeroing in on their exact location. "Move!" he hissed, his usual calm demeanor shattering for a split second. The team vanished in a blur of motion just as the Haki projectiles slammed into the rock where they had been hiding, leaving 8 small, spiderwebbed craters and a lingering aura of absolute authority. Down below, Sakura and Sasuke flinched at Naruto's sudden, silent attack into the distance. Kuratsuchi and Akatsuki, who was now shakily getting to his feet, stared in the same direction, utterly baffled. He sensed someone else? Akatsuki stammered, his mind still reeling. His sensory abilities are completely off the charts, Kuratsuchi thought, a fresh wave of fear and disbelief washing over her. He fought us, dismantled my team, and was still aware of observers that far away. What kind of monster is he? Sasuke's mind, however, was on a different track. This was it. This was the power he needed to understand. Naruto, he said, his voice firm. You were explaining. This Haki. Naruto turned away from the distant cliff face, his lazy grin returning, though it didn't quite banish the intensity from his eyes. He walked past the defeated IWA team, casting one final glance at Kuratsuchi, who was now helping Akatsuki to his feet. You should learn not to be so eager to die, he said with a smile that was anything but comforting. Then he motioned for his team to follow. Come on, let's find a safer place to talk. Miles away, Team Kabuto landed breathlessly in a shadowed crevice. Yoroi and Misumi were pale, their bodies trembling. What was that? Misumi gasped. It felt like death was coming right for us. He knew, Yoroi stated, his voice strained. He knew exactly where we were. He was toying with us all. Kabuto adjusted his glasses, a bead of sweat tracing a path down his temple. He quickly met up with the disguised Orochimaru. Lord Orochimaru, Kabuto said, bowing slightly. The reports were true, but insufficient. His power, it's beyond what we anticipated. He recounted the battle in detail, the shattered golem, the casual dodging of lava, the landscape-altering strikes, and the final, overwhelming wave of will that ended the fight. He finished with the focused attack that had been sent their way. Orochimaru's disguised face held a mask of curiosity, but his snake-like eyes gleamed with ravenous hunger. A power of spirit made manifest, able to be projected with such precision? Kukuku, forget the Sharingan for a moment. This boy is a treasure trove of possibilities. Team 7 found a defensible cave to rest in. Sakura was tending to a few minor scrapes while Sasuke cornered Naruto. Continue, Sasuke demanded. Naruto sighed, leaning against the cave wall. All right. Like I said, observation Haki lets you sense things and, eventually, see the future. The stronger the will of the person you're watching, the harder it is to predict them. It takes a lot of training. He then held up his right arm, and the familiar, lustrous black color flowed over his skin. This is armament Haki. It's your will forged into invisible armor. You can use it to attack, making your strikes more powerful, or to defend, blocking attacks that would normally tear you apart. You can coat your whole body in the invisible armor, or focus it into one spot to make it stronger. Like this. The black receded, though Naruto's arm still carried a faint aura of power. It's the ultimate defense and offense. It's what lets you touch things you shouldn't be able to. And the last one? Sasuke pressed. The pressure you used on them? Before Naruto could answer, his head snapped up, his eyes focused on the cave entrance. Company, he said, his tone flat. He sensed 6 familiar presences approaching. Strong but not hostile. Curious. Eager. You can come out, Naruto called. I know you're there. 6 figures appeared at the mouth of the cave, their Kiri headbands glinting in the dim light. Haku, Chojuro, Saya, Jin, Rin, and Mizuha. Haku stepped forward, offering a polite bow. Naruto-kun, forgive the intrusion. My comrades, she said, gesturing to the others, have heard many stories about you since your time in our village. They are eager to test their mettle against yours. Naruto's grin became a smirk. He pushed himself off the wall, his hand resting casually on the hilt of his chakra saber. Is that so? And what about you, Haku? You joining the party this time? Haku shook her head, a small, genuine smile on her face. I have already faced you once. I have no desire for a repeat of that experience. Chojuro, clutching Hiramakari, shifted his weight nervously. I'll also sit this one out if that's okay, Naruto-san. I'd rather not. Saya Kureha, standing beside him, let out a soft, teasing sigh. So timid, Chojuro. How will you ever master your blade? Her unnerving violet eyes were fixed on Naruto. Mizuha gave a slight shake of her head. My role is support. I will observe. That left the 3 most aggressive of the group. Jin Ishihara stepped forward, cracking his knuckles, his gaze intense. Rin Kirigami stood with his arms crossed, his eyes analytically scanning Naruto from head to toe. And Saya took a graceful step, the light catching the thin wire spools at her waist. So it's the 3 of you, Naruto said, his smirk widening. Wait. Sasuke stepped forward, positioning himself beside Naruto, his hand on a kunai. I'm fighting too. Naruto glanced at him. Sasuke, at your current level, you'll just get in the way. These guys are the next generation of the 7 swordsmen. Sasuke's jaw tightened, but he didn't back down. A smirk of his own, full of pride and defiance, crossed his face. I didn't come all the way to IWA just to hide behind you, Naruto. I came here to fight the best and prove myself. This is the perfect chance. Naruto looked at the unwavering determination in Sasuke's eyes, the burning desire to test his own limits. He let out a long, theatrical sigh. Fine, he said. turning his attention back to the three Kirinin. "It's your funeral." But as he said it, a silent promise was made. He wouldn't let his teammate die. This, just like the IWA fight, would be another lesson. The question was, for whom? Chapter 18. A Lesson in Pride. The air in the cavern crackled with anticipation. On one side stood the imposing trio from the Hidden Mist, future legends of the Seven Swordsmen, their eyes fixed on their targets with a mixture of predatory curiosity and ambition. On the other, Naruto stood with a weary sigh, and beside him Sasuke, whose defiance burned as brightly as the Sharingan in his eyes. "So," Naruto began, his voice deceptively casual as he rolled his one shoulder. "You three want to test your mettle. Just try not to shame your seniors. I've fought a couple of your village's legends before. Hope you put up a better fight." The taunt landed perfectly. Rin Kirigami's perpetually unimpressed expression sharpened. "Zabuza-sama is a legend. Yagura-sama is a monster. Don't flatter yourself by comparing us to them, Konohinin. We're here to make our own legends." His hand rested on the hilt of Shibuki. Jin Ishihara grunted, his powerful frame radiating impatience. "Less talk," he rumbled, hefting the massive axe and hammer combination of Kabutawari. "More fighting." Saya Koreha offered a faint, chilling smile. "Oh, I'm sure it will be an educational experience. For all of us." "Sasuke, you take the big one," Naruto said, not taking his eyes off the Kirinin. "Keep him busy. Don't try to match his strength, use your speed. I'll handle the other two." Sasuke scoffed. "Don't order me around. I'll take whichever one I want." But he knew Naruto's assessment was correct. The large one was a direct physical threat, a test for his Sharingan's predictive abilities. Making way for the confrontation, Sakura, Mizuha, Chojuro, and Haku exited the cavern, leaving the others to their fight. The standoff broke. Rin was the first to act, weaving hand seals with practiced ease. Ninpu, Hidden Mist no Jutsu. A thick, chakra-infused mist rapidly filled the cavern, obscuring vision and muffling sound. It was the signature technique of the silent killing masters. Sasuke's Tsutomu Sharingan activated, cutting through the haze, but it was still like trying to see through murky water. Suddenly, from the mist, a glint of metal, an impossibly long and thin needle shot towards Sasuke. It was Saya striking first. Sasuke, thanks to his Sharingan, reacted just in time, deflecting the needle with a kunai. But as it flew past, he saw the almost invisible glint of a chakra-infused wire attached to its end. Before he could react, Jin exploded from the mist, a brown blur of muscle and steel. "Kabutawari!" he roared, swinging the massive axe in a devastating downward arc. Sasuke's eyes widened. The raw power was immense. He threw himself backwards, the axe smashing into the ground where he'd been, shattering the stone floor and sending fissures spreading out from the impact. He had no time to recover. Rin, moving like a phantom in the mist, appeared at Sasuke's flank, Shibuki drawn. He feinted a slash, forcing Sasuke to parry, then used the momentum to spin, unspooling a long roll of explosive tags from his blade. Blast's word technique. Blasting bridle repeating death. The paper streamer whipped around Sasuke, cutting off his escape routes. This was their strategy. Overwhelm and isolate him. Damn it, Sasuke thought, seeing the trap closing in. They're too coordinated. He was about to be engulfed in a massive explosion when a flash of red and black lightning tore through the mist. 10 wary, Heaven Splitter. Naruto appeared as if from nowhere, his saber, now glowing faintly and crackling with Conqueror's Haki, intercepted Rin's attack. The charge from Naruto's blade seemed to neutralize the explosive tags, the paper turning to inert ash on contact. With a powerful shove, he sent Rin staggering back. At the same time, a thin, almost invisible wire snaked around Naruto's ankle from the floor. He didn't even look down. A flare of armament Haki from his leg, and the wire snapped harmlessly. Saya, hidden deeper in the mist, felt the feedback. Her eyes widened slightly. He broke it? My wire? With just chakra? No, that felt different. Sasuke, Naruto said, his voice calm amidst the chaos. This isn't a series of one-on-one fights. They're a team. You need to see the whole board. From the mist, Jin charged again, this time aiming for Naruto. Naruto met the charge head-on. Kabutowari's axe swung, aiming to cleave him in two. Naruto, with his single arm, blocked the massive weapon with his saber. The clash of steel on steel rang out, a deafening shriek of metal. Jin's immense physical strength met Naruto's Haki-reinforced stance. To Jin's utter shock, he couldn't push Naruto back. It was like trying to move a mountain. "My turn," Naruto said. He pushed forward, sending the much larger Jin stumbling back a step. Naruto's saber began to glow with a pale green light as he channeled his nature transformation. Wind release, blade of the gale. The air around his sword sharpened, becoming a visible extension of the blade, humming with cutting power. "Sasuke now!" Naruto yelled. Sasuke, seizing the opening Naruto had created, launched his own assault. Fire release, Phoenix Sage fire technique. He spat out a volley of small fireballs, peppering the area where Rin and Saya were concealed. It wasn't meant to be a finishing blow. It was a distraction, forcing them to move. As they dodged, Saya sent Nuabari shooting through the air again, not at Sasuke, but at the ground around him. Long sword ninja art, earth spider sewing. Wires erupted from the ground, trying to ensnare Sasuke's feet. But his Sharingan saw the subtle shifts in the dirt and the glint of the wires. He leapt and twisted through the deadly web, landing deftly. Meanwhile, Rin had recovered. "You're fast, Konoha. But let's see you handle this." He slammed Shibuki's blade into the ground, and a wave of explosions erupted in a line towards Naruto. Naruto didn't retreat. He met the wave of explosions with a swing of his wind-infused saber. The sharp gale from his blade cut through the blasts, dispersing the force and smoke. Jin, recovering his balance, charged once more, his face a mask of grim determination. "I will break you." He swung his hammer this time, the blunt force designed to shatter bone even through a guard. Naruto flowed backwards, his feet barely seeming to touch the ground. As the hammer whistled past his face, he countered with a lightning-fast upward slash. The wind edge of his saber caught Jin across the chest plate. It didn't cut through the reinforced armor, but the force of the blow was immense, leaving a deep score and sending Jin stumbling again. "You're strong," Naruto admitted, "but you're too predictable." Suddenly, Naruto felt a prickling sensation. His observation Haki screamed a warning. 3 needles, silent and coated in a paralyzing agent, were coming at him from 3 different directions. It was Saya. She had stitched her wires to nearby rock formations and was using them to launch attacks from impossible angles. Naruto spun, his wind-infused blade becoming a whirlwind of defense, deflecting all 3 needles in a shower of sparks. But it was a feint. While he was occupied, a dozen more wires shot from the mist, wrapping around his sword arm, his leg, and his torso. Long sword ninja art, massacre method formation. Saya's faint smile widened. She had him. "Now, Jin," she commanded. Jin saw his chance. With a roar, he charged the bound Naruto, raising Kabutowari high for the final, defense-shattering blow. Sasuke saw this and desperation flared. Fire release, dragon fire technique. He spat a massive stream of fire, guided by a pre-thrown ninja wire, directly at Jin's exposed back. Jin, feeling the intense heat, was forced to abandon his attack on Naruto and pivot, bringing Kabutowari around to block the dragon of fire. The flames washed over the weapon, but it held. This was the opening Naruto needed. "Binding me?" Naruto chuckled, the sound echoing ominously. "Bad idea." A wave of black-red lightning exploded from his body. The wires wrapped around him didn't just snap. They disintegrated into dust. Saya gasped. Feeling the connection sever so violently it sent a jolt of pain up her arm. Freed, Naruto faced the still-recovering Jin. "You wanted to break me?" Naruto asked, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. He disappeared, reappearing directly in front of Jin, too close for the big man to swing his weapon effectively. Naruto's free hand, now coated in black armament Haki, shot out and grabbed Jin by the face. He didn't punch. He just held him there, his grip like a vice. Jin struggled, his immense strength useless against the immovable object that was Naruto's Haki. "It's over," Naruto stated. He flared his conqueror's Haki again, a focused, non-lethal burst directed straight into Jin's mind. The big man's eyes went wide with terror as his will was assaulted, and then he crumpled to the ground, unconscious. One down. Rin and Saya, now fully visible as the mist began to thin, stared in shock. Their powerhouse was out. Rin, ever the pragmatist, knew a direct fight was lost. He threw several smoke bombs at his feet, aiming to retreat. But Naruto was already there, his wind-infused saber at Rin's throat. "I wouldn't," Naruto said calmly. From the shadows, Saya made a last, desperate move. She threw Nuabari itself, a final, piercing strike aimed at Naruto's exposed back. Naruto didn't even turn. Sasuke, his Sharingan tracking the needle, yelled a warning, "Naruto, behind you!" But Naruto just sighed. The needle stopped dead in the air, a centimeter from his back, held fast by an invisible force, a barrier of armament Haki. Saya stared, her composure finally breaking. He hadn't even looked. Naruto glanced over his shoulder at her. "You're precise. You've got talent. But you're 100 years too early to take me on." He turned his attention back to Rin. "Drop the sword." Rin, seeing no way out, let Shibuki clatter to the floor. The fight was over. Naruto released him. "Go get your friend. This test is finished." Sasuke stood panting, his chakra low from the fire jutsus. He had barely been a factor. He had been a distraction at best, a liability at worst. He watched Naruto, who had just single-handedly dismantled 3 of Kiri's most promising future legends without breaking a sweat, and a frustrating, bitter, but undeniable thought echoed in his mind. "This is the gap between us. This is the power I need to reach." Chapter 19, The Serpent's Gaze. The echoes of the brief, brutal confrontation faded into the damp air of the cavern. Outside, the remaining shinobi had waited with bated breath. The explosive sounds, the tremor in the rock, the sudden, oppressive silence. It had all painted a picture of a battle far beyond a simple Chunin exam spar. Sakura, Mizuha, and Chojuro exchanged worried glances. Haku remained still, his senses strained, trying to decipher the outcome. When the sounds of combat ceased entirely, a heavy quiet took its place. After a moment, Haku gave a slight nod. "It's over." They cautiously made their way back into the cave's main chamber, their footsteps echoing in the tense atmosphere. The sight that greeted them stopped them in their tracks. The cavern was a wreck. The floor was scarred with deep gouges and littered with shattered rock. A faint smell of ozone and burnt paper hung in the air. Jin Ishihara, the powerhouse of the Kiri team, lay unconscious on the ground, his formidable weapon, Kabutawari, lying uselessly beside him. Rin Kirigami, the calm tactician, was leaning against a wall, his breathing ragged and his face pale with shock, Shibuki discarded at his feet. And Saya Koreha, the precise and deadly assassin, stood frozen, her usually calm violet eyes wide with a mixture of disbelief and something akin to fear, her hands trembling slightly as she stared at the snapped wires around her. They hadn't just been defeated, they had been utterly dismantled. Sakura's gaze immediately found Sasuke. He was standing off to the side, his fists clenched so tightly his knuckles were white, his Sharingan still active. He wasn't physically injured, but the look on his face was one of profound frustration and self-anger. It was the look of a prodigy who had just been shown an insurmountable gap in power. From that expression alone, Sakura knew. Naruto once again carried the fight. Naruto himself stood in the center of the chamber, his back to them all. His single arm hung loosely at his side, his saber sheathed. He appeared completely relaxed, as if he'd just woken from a nap. But his attention wasn't on the defeated Kirinin or his own teammates. He was staring intently at a blank, unassuming section of the cave wall. "You've been watching long enough," Naruto said, his voice quiet but carrying an undeniable authority that cut through the silence. "Come on out." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, the rock wall seemed to ripple and distort, and a figure emerged from the solid stone as if it were water. It was one of the grass genin they had seen earlier, a girl with long black hair and a nervous disposition. But the smile she offered was anything but nervous. It was slow, predatory, and deeply unsettling. "Kukuku, remarkable," the grass nin said, her voice a strange, high-pitched mimicry. She began to applaud slowly, the sound echoing unnaturally in the cavern. "Truly remarkable, to dispatch 3 of Kiri's most promising future swordsmen with such casual dominance. And that unique power of yours, fascinating." You've got it exactly right, and thank you for clarifying. That makes perfect sense and is a much more intelligent and subtle way for Naruto to make the connection. It shows his observation Haki isn't just a magical I know everything button. It's a tool for deduction based on the information he gathers. Naruto's eyes narrowed, his mind racing. This feeling, this cold, reptilian greed radiating from the girl. It wasn't an entirely new sensation. It was a perfect match for the feeling he got from one of the Konoha genin he had chased off the cliff earlier, the one with the glasses. He recalled seeing them briefly at the village gates upon arrival. Their leader, Kabuto, had carried the exact same aura. A purely scientific curiosity aimed at him and, more intensely, at Sasuke. So, you're working with Four Eyes and his team, Naruto thought, his gaze hardening as the pieces clicked into place. That's why he was watching so closely. You all want to know what makes us tick. Who are you? Naruto asked, his tone flat, already knowing the answer wouldn't be simple. What do you want with us? The disguised Orochimaru chuckled, a chilling sound. What I want. That's simple, Naruto-kun. The air suddenly grew cold, thick with a palpable, suffocating malice. A killing intent so pure and ancient washed over the cavern that it felt like a physical force. I want your bodies. For the younger shinobi, the effect was instantaneous and absolute. Sakura froze, her breath catching in her throat as a horrifying vision seared itself into her mind. Her own lifeless body, pale and broken at the feet of this monster. Sasuke gasped, his Sharingan spinning wildly but unable to break the paralysis as he saw his own death, his ambition turning to ash. Haku, Chojuro, Mizuha, Rin, and Saya were all locked in place, their minds assaulted by visions of their own gruesome ends, their training and resolve melting away before this tidal wave of pure terror. Only Naruto remained standing, completely unaffected. His glare was a tangible shield against the killing intent, his own immense willpower meeting the serpent's malice and holding it at bay. The two forces clashed in the center of the room, an invisible war of wills. Run, Naruto commanded, his voice a low growl that cut through the fear-induced paralysis of the others, snapping them back to a state of trembling reality. All of you, get out of here. I'll handle this one. And no, Haku stammered, forcing himself to move despite the terror still clinging to his soul. He took a shaky step forward, his hands forming seals. Zabuza-sama and I, Kiri, we owe you a debt, Naruto-kun. I will not let you face this alone. Chojuro, seeing Haku's courage, swallowed his fear. His hands, though trembling, tightened around the hilt of Hiramakarei. Keikiri's savior, we will back you up. Orochimaru's smile widened, amused by their futile bravery. Kukoku, such admirable loyalty. But a bit foolish, don't you think? He gestured around the damaged cavern. This space is a bit cramped for what I have in mind. We should take this outside. Naruto didn't waste the opportunity. He formed a cross-shaped seal. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 6 perfect clones of Naruto popped into existence. Get them out of here, the real Naruto ordered. The clones moved instantly, grabbing the still shaken Sasuke, Sakura, and the Kirinin. Before anyone could protest further, they were being half-dragged, half-carried out of the cavern and into the relative safety of the outside world. That left only Naruto, Haku, and Chojuro standing before the disguised Sannin. Now then, Orochimaru said, his voice shifting, deepening, let's find a more suitable stage. The 4 of them exited the cave, stepping out into a wide, desolate plateau under the gray IWA sky. The wind howled, carrying with it a sense of impending doom. Once outside, the Grassnin's form began to distort and melt away. The face of the young girl twisted, the skin peeling back to reveal the pale, ageless features, long black hair, and golden, slitted eyes of the legendary Sannin, Orochimaru. Haku and Chojuro gasped in recognition. They didn't know him personally, but every shinobi in every nation knew the face of the man who had betrayed Konoha, a genius on par with the Hokage. Orochimaru of the Sannin, Haku whispered, his blood running cold. Orochimaru ignored them, his predatory gaze fixed solely on Naruto. He licked his lips, his impossibly long tongue darting out in a gesture of eager anticipation. To think the Nine-Tails vessel possessed a power so undocumented, Orochimaru hissed, his voice filled with a lust for discovery, a power that doesn't rely on the beast within. He paused, his eyes gleaming with a final, chilling statement. Show it to me, boy. Show me the full extent of the will that allows you to stand before a god without trembling. Naruto's hand slowly gripped the hilt of his saber, the lazy grin gone, replaced by a look of absolute, unshakable resolve. You're no god, Naruto replied, his voice echoing across the plateau. You're just a snake, and I'm here to cut off your head.